What is up, everybody? Welcome to another live Pendergast podcast. And listen, what an honor it is to sit here today with Eddie Kaye, a buddy of mine, man. What is up, Eddie?
Just hanging out in Wisconsin, trying to stay warm, man.
Listen, I hear you. It's actually cool here in Virginia too. It's like 40 degrees, so it's absolutely chilly. But listen, big shout out to my man Dustin Carter and D Woody for the awesome wig. Went out with them last night. They dared me to wear it, so yeah, man. I got the mullet going on.
Yeah, I'm jealous, man. I wish I could rock the mullet.
You could absolutely rock the mullet for sure. Right?
It'd be more of a bullet, that bald mullet.
Hey, man, and you could absolutely rock it too. It'd be, next time when I have you on mid-season, we'll both rock some type of different style of hairdo.
I'm down.
Yeah, absolutely. My buddy Kevin Four says, "What's up with the wig, bro?" Listen, Kevin, I got dared last night from two of my buddies to wear it on the podcast today. So yeah, I got the full blown mullet going on, and yeah, my son looked at me and was like, "What the hell are you doing?" Right? So I started laughing.
You got to keep it interesting.
Listen, man, you got to keep it real, right? Just keep it 100. That's what absolutely, man. But listen, Eddie, me and you've been chatting for a while. And I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you so much for all the love and support for the podcast, man. It absolutely means a lot to me, man, for real.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I love it, man. I listened to a bunch of your episodes just driving back from Daytona and, catching up, seeing how you kind of work things. And I really like the flow of the podcast. It's like, it's real,
Yeah, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to be 100% genuine, right? And I love it when I get guests on and they're 100% genuine. We just have a good time. That's what it's about. Too many podcasts out there are just so serious and same questions and yada, yada, yada. I just wanted to be different, right? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, listen, thank you so much. And thank you for everybody that's watching it right now and that's going to tune in. This episode will be out on Spotify, iHeart, and all that good stuff tomorrow. And if you don't get a chance to catch it from the beginning, you can always go back and watch it on Facebook as soon as it's done and YouTube. But listen, Eddie, tell us your story, man. How did you get into the wonderful wheels of twos?
I mean, honestly, I don't remember the day that I discovered a motorcycle. It was kind of just grown up and put into me from day one. My dad had a bunch of bikes and, he had his own little shop, been riding forever. So it's just been like ingrained in me from day one.
That's awesome. Yeah, I do. My dad, he was a fighter pilot in the Navy. So, that's where I remember him taking me, man, I still remember 5. I'd sit on top of his bike. He had a Suzuki. I can't remember. It was probably a GS, right? Obviously at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he used to take me riding. I'd sit on the tank, put my hands up on his hands, and all that. And it was that's the day I fell in love with motorcycles for sure. So nothing like it, man. It's the greatest freedom anybody's ever going to feel. Throwing your leg over it. Yeah, man. It's listen. There's nothing that's ever given me the freedom of satisfaction, and also it's the best mental calmness that I find for myself.
I definitely get withdrawals, man. Like if I'm not riding, like being up in Wisconsin, we didn't get much ice this year. So like we weren't able to do any of the ice racing and just, not being on the bike for a few months was killing me. And the first nice day we had, I took the TTR out and ripped around. And I was freezing because it was like still like 35 degrees or something. But I came back and it was like right away. It was like that flip of a switch. I was like, dude, this is what I've been missing. Like, I need to ride.
That's it. My life is complete now just for that day, right? The journey continues tomorrow. But yeah, dude, listen, ice racing, man, I've seen it, not in real life, but obviously on TV and Facebook and videos and YouTube and all that good stuff, man. And I'm always like in shock. It's absolutely amazing with the spikes and so tell us about ice racing, man, and riding in the ice. Obviously, it's different than the pavement, correct?
Yeah, even the flat track dirt stuff, it's like you get so much more grip. It's unbelievable how much grip you get on the ice. And everyone, you look at it, it's like it's ice, or we're gonna be sliding. But with the studs, man, it grips and rips. So it's a good time. The main thing is you're just fighting to stay warm. And then you break that sweat, you start getting hot, and then we're going to take a break. And then all of a sudden you're freezing. You got to get back on the bike and get riding again,
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's man, the coldest I've ever rode in. I rode to work one day and it was like 18 degrees, and
Oh yeah.
dude froze my balls off. Right, so I was at work, so I'd go around before I got off work. So I worked 10 to 7. It was like a mid shift, and it
Mm-hmm.
got colder, obviously, at night. I think it was like 12 or 8 or something. And I'd go to the guy that was bigger than me. He was like, "Hey man, you got an extra pair of pants or jacket or something I can use, right? Hey man, you got an extra." And then I go to the next size guy up. Next thing I know, I'm leaving work with 5 clothes on, none of them mine, but the ones that I have on, very, very underneath. And man, I'm gonna tell you, I still froze my ass off. It was so bad. Like I had to really think hard just to try to hit the brakes because my fingers were just like this. Yeah, I was yeah.
Right. Yeah. When I was in the service, I rode my bike every day to work in North Carolina. Like if it was cold, I was riding because that's the only way all I had. So it was like you gotta ride, you gotta, bundle up and suffer for about, 30 minutes. But it was the way
Absolutely.
to, just being on a bike every day though, it keeps you fresh.
It does. It does, man. And it wasn't so much like the pain was riding, right? But most of the pain was when you stopped and your body started getting warm, that blood started flowing again. It felt like a bunch of
Hmm.
needles all over my hands and my arms and everywhere. It's like,
Yeah, my
yeah,
knees would be the thing that got so cold, man. I'd be like, my knees are just so cold.
yeah,
It'd
I
be
know.
like, yeah, but I was a diehard back like when I first got, street bike riding and living in Wisconsin. I'd ride in November just to try to ride as much as possible. Like as long as there's not salt on the ground, I was riding,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I ended up
Go
putting
ahead.
10,000 miles on my bike. My ZX10, I bought one brand new June 1st and put it away in October, put 10,000 miles on the bike, just riding, taking the long way everywhere. So,
Yeah. I still do that to this day, right? I'm like, well, I'm taking a long way home for sure. The long way to work. It's nothing like it, man. It's absolutely just amazing. Even in all weathers, like I loved riding in the rain, and I still do. Some of my buddies would, but they didn't like it like I did, and that's why I learned the actual grip you actually have in the rain and how hard you can
yeah.
actually brake in the rain. I'd go out there and practice that, and absolutely made me a better rider, right? More aware when rain happens. Obviously, the first hour is the most dangerous because that's when all the oil and the radiator fluid and all that comes up out the ground. But yeah, I loved it, dude. Just sitting at a stoplight, bro, and the rain just hitting your helmet, right? It was just like this calming. It's
Right.
weird to explain, man. It really
No,
is. It's
I
like
feel
this,
you.
dude. It is. It's this calming, like sensation, right? And I'm sure it's that way, Eddie, when you get on the racetrack and it's raining, right? You're sitting on the grid. Everything for me, it's like everything goes quiet for a moment. It's like the world
Hmm.
just completely shut out, right? For that split. It seems like 5 minutes, but literally it's probably 10 seconds. And then that
Right.
rain just smiling, and yeah, it's go time.
Yeah. Honestly, a memory that I have in the rain is racing Daytona in the rain. That was pretty wild. And, we were stuck on the grid for a while and it's like, right before it's raining and I'm like Ryan and I are looking at each other like, dude, are we racing in this? Are they letting us race on Daytona on the banks in the rain? And like we went out there and did it and it was pretty wild. Like it was nuts because there's like gutters that the water comes down the bank, so you're like hitting it full stick and you hit these streams of water and the rear tire lights up, so it was something like out of this world, like definitely a bucket list thing,
Oh,
like being
facts.
able to race Daytona in the rain.
And a major butthole pucker too at that, right? Like, oh my god, here
Oh
comes a
no.
puddle. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I actually crashed twice and still won my race. And
Dude, that's proper, man. You guys heard it.
yeah,
Crashed
dude.
twice and still won the race. I mean,
Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
I crashed in the warm up lap actually because they held us on the grid for super long and I was kind of getting antsy and muscle memory kind of came in and I came into turn one like an idiot and just put my fingers on the brakes and just I barely touched it, went down and Dustin Apgar, a good buddy of ours, he the bike spun around and hit his front wheel and he tucked the front and saved the bike and then spun around again and he hit my tail section, blew my tail section off and still saved it and it was pretty wild. It was a crazy race. And then later on, he comes by me on the banks after the start and just turns around and gives me, flips me the bird. And, it was just, and I mean, if you know Dustin, he was a complete
Yeah.
madman.
He
So like he
was.
came flying by me, and I'm like, well, if Dustin can go that fast, I'm gonna go that fast, like so I just stuck right with him, and then like with the one the checkered flag or white flag came out, and I was just still trying to push it, and I ended up crashing in the barrel turn and picked the bike up, and it wouldn't start, and then second place came flying by, and I was like, all right, like then the bike fired right when they came by, so I ran them down into the bus stop and took the checkered and won the race. It was like definitely a pretty cool experience.
Absolutely right. Especially when something like that happens, panic automatically sets in. You're like, oh shit, right? This feeling you only get when that happens. You can't replicate that feeling anywhere else, and then the bike
Yeah.
fires up, you get back on it, and then it's like that red mist you see, right? And it's just
Mm-hmm.
next thing you know, you're like, the race is over. I won.
Yeah.
Let's go, right? Like
It was.
shit.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, dude. I was like, definitely gave it my all. And when the adrenaline's flowing, you're not thinking about like shut the bike off, let the ECU reset. You're just like trying to start it. Got to take a breath, like calm down, shut
That's
the
it.
bike off, turn it back on, get it going. And yeah, it was. I mean, that year at Daytona, it was one hell of an experience. Ryan and I actually built our bikes in like 1 week. I bought my
Nice.
SV. Yeah, bought this SV for $100, and like in 1 week, just like rebuilt the whole bike and got it back together and made the race. It was just like all last minute, typical racing stuff.
Even for track day guys, a lot of them is always the last minute. Oh, I'll take care of it tomorrow, or I'll do it tonight, and then something comes up, and next thing you know, you show up to the track, you're like, shit, I forgot my gas can, right? I've done that,
Right.
right? Or I forgot my key. You got to be shitting me right now, right? It's
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Anybody
always
know
the
how to
trailer
unlock?
keys. I always forget the trailer keys. That's my one. Show up like I can't tell you how many locks I've cut off at the racetrack. Like, dude, I forgot the trailer keys.
I can't get my bike out. Yeah,
Yeah.
What do I do? That's awesome. So we have a comment, man, from my man Daniel Parker. He's a rider mindset coach all the way out in the UK. Daniel, nothing but love for you, brother. He says, "What is up?" And then another one, Chris Lewis. He's a good buddy of mine out there in the UK too. He says, "Hey, Chris, love the new hairstyle, right? Yeah, yeah." And then
Yeah.
Northeast Jules, man, what is up? He says, "My eyes are fucking with me right now." Andrew Davis is in the house. What is up, Andrew? He says Elvis edition, pin to gas. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Heck
So
yeah.
if you guys are just now tuning in, I went out with my buddies last night. Big shout out to Dustin Carter and D Woody. And they were like, put the wig on. You got to wear it on the podcast. So here we are. Absolutely. But yeah, listen. So you started riding on the street, I'm sure squid riding, as everybody calls it, right? We all been there and
For
done that.
sure.
Yeah, dude. See ya.
Yeah.
I'm lucky I'm alive. I did some absolutely dumb shit. I mean, it was, just absolutely. And then,
Same, dude. Same.
yeah, it's running from the police. Yeah, man, I should be,
Everything, man. I mean, I was an 18-year-old kid with the ZX10, brand new, like I just think what I was doing, just being dumb.
yeah,
And I'm very thankful I'm alive because I didn't have a clue, especially when you're young, you think, oh, I know how to ride, and like looking back, it's like, dude, I was a straight squid, I didn't know.
yeah, me too.
I just knew how to do wheelies, that was about it.
Me too. Yeah, me too. I learned on a little dirt bike, and actually, what really helped me learn how to ride wheelies, you guys listen to this, is a unicycle. Learn to
Oh,
ride a unicycle, because a unicycle is nothing but balance, right? Same thing as a
mm-hmm.
wheelie. It's that up, find that balance, and you just barely got to crack on the gas and just flood it. And I mean, it'll just right there, right? Some bikes,
Yeah.
it's like this. Some bikes are more like this. But I find when you do it like at a 45-degree angle, right, you work at it a little bit harder, right? Because it's not in that sweet spot it needs to be in. But yeah, unicycle, man, it's
Yeah. I've never done a unicycle, but I just practiced it. With the ZX10, it was so powerful. You just learn how to power wheelie first and kind of hold it up until you run out of power, and then you start working into doing the clutch, and it just definitely didn't have any business to be on a ZX10 back then, but
not for a first bike, right? Yeah, that's
well, I mean, it was my second bike. My first bike was a KZ 1000, a 1978 KZ, so still too fast of a bike for me. And I grew up riding an old CB 350 around my property, just, you know, not even an off-road bike. It was kind of, you know, it was back when they had like, it was an enduro, you know, off-road, on-road bike, but it was definitely more of a street bike. And
Yeah.
it's what I had to just go ride. We had 200 acres and I'd go out there. My dad wouldn't even make me wear a helmet. Just go rip and crash this thing and just, you know, learn from trial and error. And then got on the streets. And I didn't even ride with a motorcycle license for like the first 4 years. Because in Wisconsin, you can get a temps license, right? And you can get one every year. But the riding season is about as long as your temps, you know, so every year I just renew it and go ride. And then till I finally got caught, then I was like, all right, I need to get my license.
Yeah, that's I turned 16 instead of buying a car, I bought a brand new 1996 ZX6R off the showroom floor. I wanted a ZX7. My dad was like, "No, you're better off with a 600, right?" But I grew up riding dirt bikes, but I never had my own because we moved so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was always like, "No, no, no." My dad's like, "Yes, let's do it," you know. And then, but I made friends every base we went to with the kids that had the bikes, whether they're older with me or not. I'd go over there and obviously I grew up riding and crashing their bikes. And then 16, I was like, Mom, I don't want a car, I want a bike, right? And my mom's all freaking out. What are you gonna do when it rains? I'm gonna get wet, right? What are you gonna do when it's cold? I'm gonna wrap up. I mean, it's yeah. And then, you know, as you ride it, you feel like I know everything, dude. I'm fast, I'm this, I'm that. I could ride a mono wheelie for a mile. It's, you know, all this.
Right.
But dude, when I first started riding wheelies, like same thing, get it first gear, ride it out, you know, and then learn to clutch it up and then clutch it up in second. And the biggest issue I had when I very first started was remember to change gears. It's like I had to tell myself, change gear. All right, I'm good, right? Change gear. All right, I'm good, you
Yeah.
know. But then it's just muscle memory. After a while, it's just yeah,
Exactly.
it's all
Yeah. I mean,
good.
that was like my thing too. You know, I was just like, I loved wheeling the bike. You know, it's like my buddies always used to talk smack. Like as soon as we turn on a long straight road, you know, Kay's gonna go do a wheelie. You know, it's just like, I don't know. I just loved it. You know, and I feel like learning that control of a bike just gives you a little bit, you know, a step up in just controlling the motorcycle. Learning how to wheelie and stop a bike. That's like the extremes. You know, so
Yeah.
like it makes riding, you know, racing and everything a little bit better. You're more in control.
Facts, 100%. And I always told my buddies I'd ride a wheelie for a dog if a dog enjoyed it, right? So every time I see a dog, I'm like, "Brr, brr," and then, yeah, it's nothing like it, man. It's
Hmm.
especially when you're on one wheel too. It's like because that's something that every motorcyclist wants to do and wants to learn how to do, you know. And I firmly believe everybody can do it. You just got to try and practice, just like anything. Just practice, practice, practice. I recommend people get like a little CRF 100 or something like that, where you're out there on the,
Yeah.
you know, and learn, because you have to clutch it up, right? I mean, you could bounce it up, but you got to force it to bounce it up, right? And
Yeah, for sure. I ride mountain bikes. I mean,
mountain bikes,
mountain
perfect.
bike wheelies, you know, it's actually harder, I feel, to wheelie a bicycle because you're pedaling, you know, you're actually moving and you're trying to keep it up. Where if you can learn that balance point on that, it goes right to you know, a motorcycle. You just twist the throttle. It's a lot easier.
Listen, I remember, dude. It's funny you said that because growing up, I remember it was at base. I think it was in Pensacola, or it might have been in Mississippi. And I remember we just moved on base. I walk outside and there's this kid on his mountain bike, well, a bicycle, like a BMX bike. And dude, he's riding these wheelies, right? And I was like, just in awe, like, this is the coolest, like, he is the coolest kid I've ever seen in my life, right? This is absolutely amazing. And after a while, he got it to where he could ride it and take his hands off the bars and he'd be like dragging his hands on the ground, just, you know, pedaling down. And I was, yeah, so
In
uh
awe.
absolutely in awe, you know. I remember my first time, of course, you flip it a bunch of times, and you're right,
Oh
it's harder
yeah.
on a bicycle because you gotta constantly do this, otherwise it's no use for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't recommend flipping any bikes over. I broke my tailbone, fractured my pelvis messing
Ooh,
around. And actually Daytona of all places, it was like the Saturday between the races, and like we're out there doing wheelies. And you know, and my buddy's like, yo, we all had Groms. It was when they first came out, so like all our buddies went and got Groms, like everybody. And our one buddy had the Z. He's like, yo, come wheelie the Z. And I was like, all right. And the bounce point's different for sure. And dude, I looped that thing and Oh man, it was so terrible. I broke my tailbone. All my buddies are laughing at me. I'm laying on the ground and like, you know,
Crying. Yeah.
serious pain. And then the next morning I woke up and we were supposed to race, and I was racing my ZX10 at Daytona. This was actually my first race weekend. And I like woke up and like struggled to put my suit on, and I'm like, oh, I'll be all right. I'll go out and race. And I went over the timing and scoring loop cord, just one bump, and I was like, nope, turned around, like I can't do this. And it ended up screwing my whole season up. I like sat on a donut for like 6 months, and man, it was the worst injury of my life. So I do not recommend wheeling anything over. Like start small.
Facts, dude. I
It
couldn't
was
imagine.
terrible.
Yeah, breaking your tailbone. That's got to be probably one of the worst breaks, because it hurts.
Oh,
Going to the bathroom, dude. Everything. It's like,
everything
oh
you
man.
do. No joke.
Yeah.
Everything you do, getting in and out of the truck, trying to sleep on your back. I mean, taking a shit, it doesn't matter. Like everything you're doing is like, oh, it's just painful. And I was going to school at the time, so you had to go sit in those chairs, and I would stand up half the class just because I was in so much pain. And it just persists forever. There's nothing they can do for it. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, just gotta wait for it to heal.
Yeah.
And to this day, I'm still not the same. Like
Yeah. I
it was
bet.
like one of the worst injuries I've ever had.
Yeah, and I find that anytime you break something to go, the doctor always wants to, man, take these pain pills, it'll help you cope with the day. And I'm like, nah, I'd rather, I'm not into
Nah.
taking Advil, or I don't take any of that stuff, man. It's
Same. I try to stay away from it at all costs. Like any pills, like and anything, some natural supplements and stuff are definitely the way to go. But yeah, I'm not. They try to pump me full of all different kinds of pills throughout the years, and I'm like, nah. Or the other thing I do is I go look up the side effects or all, the whole thing, and I'm like, no, I'm not taking this.
right. It's like you go to the doctor for shortness of breath, and he gives you a pill to take, and the side effect is shortness of breath. You're like, well, what the hell did I come to you for, right? How you going to subscribe me something that causes shortness of breath? That's why I'm here. But that's a whole
Right. That's
another issue, in story for
yeah.
sure. So listen,
hmm
Eddie, coming from the street, who got you in the track days?
Ryan actually. Well, we were all in a club. We were
Oh,
in a
okay.
club called a motorcycle club. Some people like to call it a gang, but we called it a club. And um, it was just a bunch of guys that, like to ride street bikes and be hooligans. And one day they were like, you should come to the track. So like I ended up going to the track, doing my first track day. And, you get humbled real quick. You think you're fast and you go out there and you're like, oh man, like this is a lot. You got this 40-foot wide track. And luckily, I did it at NC Bike, so it's pretty. NC Bike's a really good beginner track. I'd say, like, if you've never been on a track, there's no blinds. Not a lot of increasing radiuses, and it's a very good beginner track. So, I ended up going out there and hanging out with all the guys for the day, and did the track day, and like, instantly was hooked. And then Ryan came back from MMI, and then he was like my track guy. Like we went to the track, we rode, and he's the one who was like, you should race. And I was like, okay, because at the time he was doing the CCS stuff, and we were both riding 1000s. We had no business to being on one, but thinking, and yeah, he's the one who kind of like sparked it. And I'm a competitive person, so like that's another thing that right away it was like, oh, you can compete. Oh, I'm doing this. And yeah, so it was like all over but the crying after that.
Right, and the thousands and millions of dollars going towards it every day, all day. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
absolutely, man. So your
yeah,
guys' motorcycle club, did you guys wear the leather vest with the patches on it too?
yeah,
Was
yeah. We wore
yeah,
cuts and like we had our logo. We were like a sport bike club, so we'd let people who ride Harleys, guys, girls that ride Harleys come into the club, but there was only a few of them, so we all rode sport bikes. And you had all the different characters. You had the guys who like to go straight, fast, in the straight line, and the guys who did wheelies and, doing all the stunts. And then you had like Ryan and I, who were the guys who were like, look, let's go rail some corner. Let's go, go hit the back roads. And a lot of the other guys, they came around to it, but at first they were like, we still got our one buddy. He's like, I only like going fast in straight line. So,
yeah.
it
Well,
kind of
I have
comes
those
around.
buddies too, right? I go straight, and this is what I always tell them. Shit, my grandma can go fast in a straight line too. I mean, it's like, listen, I'm not taking nothing away. There's absolutely a lot of skill in drag racing. It really is. The setup of the bike and the traction and well, it's kind of like road racing, pivot links and all that stuff. It helps you get the grip. But it just wasn't my thing. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah. I mean, I kind of grew up drag racing. That's what my dad did.
Okay.
He was, just kind of more doing it for a hobby, fun, not super serious. But so I spent a lot of time at the drag strip, and in their own way, it's there's a lot of fine, minute details that go into it, and just like anything, you try and do it at the top level, you got to put more. It's not just about rolling out. There's all these science behind it, but yeah, definitely not my forte. I mean, I give the guys respect. I got a buddy that is moving up and he's getting into the, higher end pro stuff with the sport bikes, the Gixxer 1000. I think he's riding right now. And I mean, dude's a madman. He can launch a bike like no other, but, I just, you got to learn that skill for the drag strip for your, start of the race. And then, cause it's always a drag race at turn one. So we go to the drag strip and do the test in 2 nights, spend the $20 and just go hang out, bring our race bikes out. And we don't care what we're running, we just want to, cut a good light and get a good launch. And, we spend some time out doing that. So it helps a lot.
Yeah, absolutely it does. It's I can't lie. I've been to the drag strip several times. So yeah, it is a lot of fun, especially when you're out there with your boys and you're talking shit like, dude, I'm gonna whoop your ass, son. You don't even know, like, bring it. I got $20 on it. Okay, all that
Yeah.
fun stuff that goes along. But dude, let's go back to the street real quick. You know what changed it for me too is man, when I go back and look at it, we did some dumb shit in jeans and a t-shirt and a stupid textile jacket with some short gloves on, right? And then when I got my first
Right.
suit, man, I felt like I was invincible. I was Superman. You couldn't hurt me no matter what. And then,
Right. Yeah, no joke, man. I mean,
dude,
same thing. Like Ryan and I actually went and ran the tail of the dragon one day on like a Tuesday, and we took plates off our bikes and put suits on, and dude, like, definitely was super reckless. Like, I'm surprised we're not dead.
right,
But
right. It,
we did it. It was wild. It was pretty
it is.
crazy. I forgot our time we ran. It was something nuts. Ryan and I, we got done and we're like, get off the bikes. And we're all like shaking from the adrenaline, like, holy crap, dude. We were hauling ass in the tail. And luckily it was like a Tuesday. So there was like no traffic. And, it was, looking back at it, it wasn't the smartest move, but it was a fun experience.
Absolutely. And I remember me and my dad and two of my cousins and a couple other buddies, we went riding and we got a bunch here in Virginia, man. Of course, North Carolina and South Carolina and all that. It's hilly. It's beautiful, Blue Ridge Parkway, and there's so many
Yeah.
nice curvy places you can go. And me and my dad, we took off, and I had a 03 GSXR 600, I think at the time, on 01. And that I bought it wrecked from a buddy of mine. I put a GSXR 1000 front end on it, the wheel, the
Nice.
calipers, the rotors, yada yada yada. Because I went to MMI too,
Okay.
myself out in Phoenix. But me and my dad, dude, we took off, and my dad was like, when we got down at the end, I used to smoke cigarettes then, so I turned the bike off, fire up the cigarette. I'm like, shit, where the hell is everybody at? And finally, my dad comes up, and the first thing he says to me was like, I knew you could ride fast, but dude, this is not okay. Like, absolutely not okay. You're gonna fucking kill yourself. What the fuck are you thinking? And I was like, and that's when it hit me. And I was like, all leather suit up, dragging knees everywhere, trying to drag my elbow. It didn't matter. I was no fucking fear, right? Let's get it.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was like, dude, absolutely not, and then yeah, I did I got into road racing in Phoenix. We did for CCS. Me and my buddies went to MMI talking shit because they just chanced it more on the street, right? Phoenix, there's not really any corners anyway. There's very few, but I'm like, whatever. And then so we go up to the track, we do the little CCS, little orange t-shirts, and then we started our first race, right? And I ended up smoking all my friends. But yeah, and just looking back, dude, just doing dumb shit on the street. Yes. Thank God we're here still, right? It's
Yeah. Well, actually, a buddy of ours was following us, and he was a newer rider when we were doing that run. And there's actually a video on YouTube of him get knocked out in the ditch for trying to follow us. He ends up tucking the front and hits the ditch, falls asleep, starts snoring. So yeah, like he was trying to keep up, and you can kind of see in the video like all the mistakes. And as we start going faster, the more and more and more mistakes he's taking, and he ends up, taking a little nap in the
cat.
ditch. It was it was pretty wild. And actually, Ryan and we smoked cigarettes back then too. So we're at the end smoking cigarettes, and we're like, where is everyone? Like, oh shit, someone went down, we need to turn around. And we turn around, and he's riding his bike back, and it's all tore up. And he ended up getting a pretty bad concussion, and we rode all the way home and didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, his nickname's Crashton for a reason. Like his name's Christian, but we call him Crashton because he started doing the CCS stuff, and he was either crashing or winning. Like,
that's awesome. Big shout out to Crashton. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
I love it, dude. What a story, man.
He's actually racing downhill mountain bikes now for the Monster Energy Cup. So he kind of switched to doing, some other type of racing.
Yeah, dude, I watch videos of them guys on them BX and them mountain bikes on them cliffs that are like this freaking wide, and they're thousands of feet in the air, hundreds. It looks like thousands of feet, and I'm like, them guys are absolutely plumb nuts,
dude. I mean, he's definitely a guy who pushes the limits, and sometimes he'll hit me up like, dude, there's this gap we got to hit. It's like 40 feet. He's like, I'm kind of scared. I'm like, dude, you're crashed and you're good, bro. Like, you got to check out his Instagram. It's Crash and Learn. He just started it, and he's doing some pretty cool swag and really getting into downhill mountain bike stuff. It's pretty interesting. He's trying to drag me into it, and I'm like, dude, I don't need any more hobbies that are expensive.
Right. Yeah, because dude, let's be honest, those mountain bikes are, I mean, a decent one's $3,500 or more. Yeah. And you're like, dude, that's like a couple sets of tires for a couple weekends, man. Like, no, I'm good.
Right. Yeah, he was definitely. I was visited him. He was trying to push this bike on me. They were running I'm a sucker for a good deal too. So it was like a $7,000-8,000 bike, and had very, very little time on it. He's trying to sell it, like his buddy was trying to sell it to me. He's like $2,500, and I'm like, dude, that's such a good deal. And like I thought about it for days and days and days. It's like, dude, should I do this? Like, I really want it. My mountain bike that I have right now is kind of clapped. It's like 5-6 years old, and I beat the shit out of it. And so, like, we'd go in there, and the guy would drop in another $100 and another $100, sweeten the deal. Like, oh, I'll give you a tailgate pad, I'll give you a full face helmet, all this stuff. And I'm like, man, like, so luckily it ended up selling before I could buy it. So temptation isn't there anymore.
Yeah, it's listen, I'm a sucker. I paid a lot of money. I had a KHS mountain bike out in Phoenix I bought because I used to ride. I had a car, of course, and my bike, but I exercise. It's 10 miles away from where I live, so I'd ride the mountain bike there and back. And I come home one night, literally left it by my front door, went inside to use the bathroom, grab me a bite to eat, come back outside to pull it in, and it was gone. And I hadn't bought one. I've been so sour about it. Like, I'm just like, dude, I just can't justify spending another $3,200 on a bike.
That actually happened to Ryan. Ryan's bike, him and I have the same bike. His was black and mine was green. His bike got stolen. They ended up finding it at like a local pawn shop. He got it back, but it was like missing the shock or whatever. Put a shock back on it, sold it to Eric Stump, who's one of the guys that works for Ryan. Yep. And then it got stolen from him. So it was like, geez, you just can't win.
No shit, right? You might as well chalk that up as a loss on that one.
Yeah, I don't think it was meant to be.
No, and whoever stole it probably got stolen from them too. And I can't stand a thief, right? But that's a whole nother subject, man.
Right, for sure.
We got Jake Marsh in the house. Big shout, dude. Nothing but love to Jake Marsh, man. He says, "Is this the younger Simcoe?" No, absolutely not, Jake. It's my buddies dare me to wear it, so yeah, here we are. I think it's actually a cool idea. I'm actually going to buy a couple different wigs and just change it up.
Yeah. What kind of hair did you rock back in the 80s?
Man, dude. So honestly, at one time I did have a mullet and everybody had a rat tail, right? But I was like my son, man. I used to have long hair, like shoulder length, but my hair, it was weird because it would be like straight and then it would curl. Right. Mm-hmm. So you'd have to straighten it out and all that. And dude, I've had many, many hairstyles. I was always like, growing up, yeah, everybody, I got bullied. Okay. And then finally, I was like, I don't care what people think. I don't want to be in with the cool crowd because the cool crowd ain't really a cool crowd. Right.
Yeah.
I just want to be me and do me. Right. And, so I do whatever. I dye my hair. I mean, there's times where me and my son still do it to this day. I'd be like, dude, let's get some like pink and purple and blue and just dye our hair. He's like, okay. And we'll just, dude, that's what life's about, man. Doing what makes you happy.
For sure.
Yeah, man. I'm like a jellyfish in the ocean, right? The waves go. I
Did,
just floating and
did you rock
smiling.
the real Slim Shady haircut back in the late 90s?
Bro, I did. I did the Nikki Hayden hairstyle. I did the
Okay.
mohawks, dude. Bro, I did it all. Absolutely, man. Yeah,
Heck yeah.
it's yeah, bro.
I
Absolutely,
think
man.
in honor of the wig, you should post a picture of your old hairstyle when you were a kid.
I will. I'm actually going to my mama's house tonight to eat dinner, so I
Oh.
have to go through her old photo albums because that was back before we had cell phones and all that stuff, right? We had
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Polaroids and yeah,
Yeah,
you
you got to
buy
go take it in and wait, a few days to get your photos
pictures.
back, and then someone wasted the whole camera, and then they weren't even good pictures.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's so good stuff, man. So listen, you went from street squid to track days to racing, right? And then you
Yep.
you seriously got racing. Okay. So tell everybody that's listening and that's gonna listen what series you racing, what bike you're racing, and how your season went.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm racing. Well, it's kind of going back and forth. I'm doing the ZX636. We're trying to make a deal to kind of do some more super sport rounds this year, but the bike that I was racing for the 200 kind of didn't really. It's not going to work for the whole season. Um, so we're trying to make some deals and figure out another bike to ride. I'm also doing the Twins Cup on the Ninja 650, really the only guy on it. So that's been it has had its challenges. It's just no one's riding it, so there's not a lot of data and kind of figure out as I go. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm rocking number 688, in honor of my military working dog. And so, yeah, I mean, that's what we're planning. And I would like to do some more endurance stuff. I really enjoy the endurance round. I know that Azra just kind of came out with a bunch of money they're giving away. And, so, we got to be where the money's at. And so hopefully we can figure out the 636 stuff. And I really enjoy doing the super sport. It's fun. I mean, Twins in itself is kind of like my root. It's like how I got started really getting serious into racing. And so I gotta get a few good finishes on the twin. I can't just abandon it yet. I've put so much time and effort into this thing, and uh, good days and bad days, and had a lot of love and hate with this bike, and it's definitely has given me a lot of challenges. But developing it and just kind of figuring it out, I feel like it's a good platform. It just kind of gotta get the geometry right. And I ended up getting a new link for it and changing a bunch of stuff for this year. So we'll see how it can come out.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's for listening, that's a parallel twin, correct?
Yep, it
Yep,
is
little
indeed. You want
parallel
to see
twin.
it?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see it. Let's check it out.
All right. So here it is right here.
Nice.
We got
Dude,
been doing some work to it. I mean, it's a full pretty much super bike build with custom ram air intake and um full harness stripped, got the die mags going on.
nice.
Yeah, it's full K Tech. They helped me out a lot and got Ryan giving me tips with the suspension. And so that thing it's far from a regular 650. It's not even close to the street bike you have, custom subframe. And it,
Triple
it's been,
trees and
yeah, everything link. The only thing really stock on it is the swing arm and the frame. The whole engine's been through, and I ended up taking like almost 4 pounds out of the harness because the harness in that bike is huge, just street bike stuff. And yeah, it's
which
been
is
coming around.
amazing because it don't have a whole lot of electronics on it from the factory, right? You figure it wouldn't have that much wiring harness, and then you're like, holy shit, this thing's just got so much wires that's not needed.
Yeah, they run the harness like around the frame and then it goes back around the frame. So it's like all this extra stuff that's just like, unneeded.
Yeah.
I'm like, spend a lot of extra money on wiring. I feel like the engineers could have done something better, but I don't think they ever anticipated to race this thing,
Dude,
Like our
that's
street
awesome.
bike.
Dude, those Dimag rims, dude, that's something I want for my RC51. I want to put a set of lightweight wheels on it. I just don't have the,
Yeah.
$2,500. I really want the carbon fiber ones because they're just, come on, man. Anytime you see some carbon
Yeah.
fiber, it's like pure porn. It's like, oh my God, that is absolutely so sexy. Like, I just want to sleep with it in my bed right next to my pillow, it's,
Yeah. I feel like every time you get those new machined or like nice parts, it's like you open the package and you're like, yeah, I'm hard. Yeah.
right, facts, dude. Look, I did that. So when I got my RC51, it was last year. So I've only had it for about 4 months, right? I barely even ridden it a whole lot. But first thing I did when I got it home is tires. I did the clutch slave cylinder. I put an aftermarket clutch slave cylinder, a stainless steel line. I got the Magrera. I can't remember if it's a 14 or a 12 millimeter hydraulic master for the clutch. And then I did the Brembo RC 19 clip-ons, reverse shifter. I always tell everybody rear sets are coming. So I tell everybody, man, the first thing you got to do, me personally, this is how I feel, is when you get a bike, don't adapt to it, adapt the bike to you, meaning clip-ons, rear sets, so you can fit it to you right where it's most comfortable. Because I find any bike
Yeah.
I sit on, mostly I feel like, dude, my elbows are like this because the clip-ons are just so towards the tank. I like my clip-ons to be out, and the stock clip-ons don't allow you to do that because they have the little notch that sits up in the triple tree and yada yada. Or you can cut it, whatever. But clip-ons are just so much lighter anyway, right? You bend a bar, 2 screws, slide the bar out, slide a new one in.
$10.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
good to
I
go,
mean,
right?
you're
I mean,
ready to
why not?
rock $10 fix. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Woodcraft has those new 0 degree offset clip-ons, and I'm like in love with them, and that's what I've been putting on all my bikes. And especially I'm 6'3", I'm a pretty big guy, so a lot of times I'm getting on these bikes, it's like it's not made for me. I was supposed to play basketball or something, but
Right?
um, so yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. Getting the bike to fit you the way like you're going to be comfortable on it is, you're not going to be able to go any faster if you're uncomfortable.
Yeah, 110%. And that's my whole point. It's yeah, it's like running in a pair of shoes that are too small. No matter what you do, it's not gonna fit right, right? So you got to get that proper geometry and everything set up for you.
Yeah, yeah, the ergonomics.
Facts, dude. And dude,
I mean,
suspension's
even as little as go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, oh, all right. I mean, even like pushing your levers down, a lot of guys don't understand they're riding their bike with their lever up like this. And you're like, I'm getting all this forearm pump. You're like, dude, you got to put your lever down so your elbow's up when you go to the brakes. Like, all that little bit of just fine tweaking is make your riding experience so much better.
Oh, it's so much comfortable too, especially over long distance. And I try to tell my friends too, they're like, because I buy the best that I can afford, especially when it comes to safety riding gear like helmets and stuff. And they're like, dude, how
Hmm.
much is that helmet? I'm like, shit, $1,400. They're like, God damn, dude, $1,400. Or why not a $250 helmet? I'm like, well, where do I start? It's the vent, the lightness, neck fatigue. I mean, the list goes on and on and on,
Yeah,
right?
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
your head matters a lot, man. Like,
Facts.
I, I've hit my head a few times, and if I didn't have a good helmet on, I mean, I didn't. I mean, I'm already crazy, but I mean, I'm gonna be a little crazier.
Right. It never knocked any more sense into me. I put it to you like that,
No,
right? No,
for
absolutely not.
sure.
Right. But yeah, dude, it's everything. And at the end of the day, when you think about it, you actually learn how to ride and you wear proper gear, dude, you get less fatigue. You're right. The controllers I see on the streets all the time, people got to reach up for the brake, reach up. I'm like, why are you reaching up? You need to, oh, I can do that. And a lot of people just don't even simply know you can just loosen up 2 8 millimeter bolts on the clutch and the brake and adjust them any way
Right.
you want
I
to.
mean, just all the little stuff. We
Yeah.
used to, man, I can't tell you how many guys, working on bikes over the years, and they bring their bike in and they're like, hey, I need a chain and sprockets, let's say. And it comes in and put chain and sprockets on, and you've put some air in their damn tires. And they're like, come back like 30 minutes later, like, I don't know what you guys did to my bike, but it rides so good now. And I'm like, dude, air in your tires, like, put some air in your tires,
Dude, it's absolutely I get bamboozled because it's again, I've said this before. It's like it seems like the common sense on people is just non-existent hardly anymore. You know, it's yeah, you always got to take your tire pressures. I mean, that's the most important thing on two wheels is the black round things. You know, that's
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Stay away
it's
from those Shinkos.
dude facts, right? Or the dude, have you ever tried the Conti tax?
No.
Yeah, I haven't either. I got a buddy that does supermoto, and he's like, dude, for like a cheap tire, it has decent grip and kind of decent life. And he says he loves to slide on them, right? So
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you like to slide, it's probably a good controllable slide because the tire's probably a little harder.
yeah, it is, dude. And
Yeah.
so you flat track, bro. That's always been, dude. I love flat tracking, and I know you do it. It's
Yeah. It's
absolutely
awesome.
amazing. It's again, I actually got Sammy Halbert and Brad Baker actually. Let's see if I can get in the pit right there. 6 and 69.
Okay.
Boom,
Yeah.
right there on the
Nice.
wall. Yeah, man. I got dude, I'm
Heck
a
yeah.
nerd, man. As you guys can see, it's just nothing but I haven't started putting posters on my ceiling. So I need
Well,
it.
I'll have to send you one of mine. You can put it on the ceiling.
Absolutely send it, sign it, and yeah, I'll
Yes,
absolutely
sir.
throw it up there. And I actually need your address because I'm gonna send you some stickers in the mail too. So
Okay. Heck
yeah,
yeah. But
absolutely,
yeah,
man. So
flat tracking, man.
yeah,
It's
dude. How'd
oh,
you get into
it's
flat
awesome.
tracking?
Honestly, we all started with well, corner spin was kind of the thing that got us
Heresy.
going. I mean, we never went there but we see it online and we're trying to be on a bike as much. We're amateurs. This is back in like 2017, 2018, and we wanted just to be able to ride, but you can't afford going track day every weekend. And it was just one day. It actually all started when Ryan got this CRF, and we used to ride in his backyard. He had this tiny little backyard, and it had fences and trees and fireplace, and it was like, but it's what we had. So we'd go out there and we'd time each other, just sit there and time each other, run X amount of laps and time each other and just kind of race against each other. And then it's exploded to everybody buying either a TTR or, well, actually we got Chinese pit bikes first, but they broke more than we could ride them. So we got
Bro,
sick of working on them.
bro, listen, everybody out there, I don't care, dude. I bought my son a Pister Pro FSC 110 4-speed automatic, right? I
Mm-hmm.
bought one. Three of my other buddies bought one. Okay, the first day that they rode them, one buddy his rear sprocket nuts backed out and gouged itself in the swing arm. The other guy, his chain broke and smacked a hole in the side of the case. The other one, it wouldn't start no more after like the first two starts. And so what I did is I took mine home, took it completely apart, freaking safety wired, lock nut, dude, torque, the whole nine, right? And then my son only rode it for like 3 times. So I turned around, I sold it. I was like, you know what? It was nothing but issues. I didn't have any, but everybody that
Yeah.
had one around me, it was issue after issue after issue. And I was like, dude, for the money you're going to spend on this thing, who cares if it's got inverted front forks or garbage, absolute junk, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Everything.
dude, you're better off buying a CRF 100 or a CRF 150R if you could find one at a decent price, or even a Grom.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
Grom. I mean, anything, like, don't go the Chinese route. I mean, what I always say is, like, if you want to get your kid into racing or riding, buy the Chinese bike first. If they
yeah,
ride that thing to the point where it's breaking all the time and they're like wanting to ride it, then go invest the money in the more expensive bike. And especially nowadays, like, dude, little dirt bikes they're just
uh-oh. I think we lost him. Where did Eddie go? Hang on, y'all. We have a little technical issue going on right here, but Eddie will be back here in a minute. But yeah, man, no Chinese bikes, y'all, for real. It's everybody I knew didn't have any luck with them, and I'm glad I sold the one that I had. Man, it was brand new too. I actually sold it to a buddy of mine, and he ain't had no issues out of it at all, which is absolutely awesome, I think. So let's see if we can get Eddie back up in here. Oh, he left, but he'll be right. So you guys like the new hairstyle and the new hairdo, right? Absolutely funny. Good stuff. So listen, everybody out there is still watching and listening right now. Did you guys watch the MotoGP race? Freaking proper, absolutely amazing. World Superbike was awesome. I actually haven't watched the second World Superbike race yet. I'm gonna do that here in a little bit. Here we go. Let's bring him back in. All right, there he is. He's back.
All right, hold on one second. I
No, you're
ended up
good.
getting an Amber Alert and it kicked me off.
Oh no, you're good, bro. You're good. I was like, oh, we lost him, but he'll be back.
You got me there?
I got you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. So, yep. So we were talking about pit bike. So yeah, we ended up doing the Chinese stuff for a while. And like I said, it was a few months and it was like, all right, screw this. So all our buddies went out. This is when TTRs are cheap. We went and picked up like a few TTRs, 300, 400, $500. And, and then, at Ryan's shop, we ended up making like this makeshift track. And, dude, the amount of glass that kept coming out of this track, cause there was an old house there and they like just tore it down. We'd find like so much glass every day and went out there and crashed our brains out a bazillion times. And, just learned through trial and error and, had some competitions of racing back and forth. And so we did that for, every day. Like every day we go to the shop, before we'd open up, when we closed down, just ride the little bikes all the time. And then I ended up during COVID, I ended up going to Corner Spin finally and went out there and learned with Aaron and had like absolute blast. It was Blake Davis and I were out there together and just banging bars. And, he was still pretty little. He's pretty much a man now. He's getting big, but back then he was kind of little. So my bike was a little faster than his, but I'm bigger. So we were really evenly matched. And we had an absolute blast out there, just ripping and, learning some more stuff. And then during COVID, I just couldn't road race. It was just too expensive. So Lee Johnson from the Slide Ranch. I don't know if you got to get out there yet. I actually think they're riding today. Dude, you got to go out there. Like,
I will.
It's so. Oh my God, I'm pretty sure Ryan and all the boys are out there right now. They're doing some riding today, and dude, awesome track, awesome people. You ride all night. Leo lets you ride till 4 o'clock in the morning. He's got lights out there and everything.
And where's the Slide Ranch at?
It's in Lillington, North Carolina.
Okay.
So I think it's about 30 minutes from Fayetteville. Okay. So it's not too far from you.
No, I'm not. So I'm an hour and I think I'm like right at like an hour and 10 minutes from Greensboro. So and then I used to go to my buddy's house in Charlotte and it was only like two hours, I think. It's not that far.
Okay, yeah. So it shouldn't be that far, honestly. He's got rental bikes out there and stuff too if you don't have your own, but go out there and did a bunch of riding, just having fun with all the boys. And he hit me up one day. It was like, beginning of COVID. He's like, someone wants to buy a flat track 450. And I never raced flat track in my life. And I was like, but I've been doing the TTR stuff. And I was like, well, how much? He's like, $3,000. I was like, dude, I'll pay you half today and half in a few weeks. Like, I want to, and then getting into the flat track stuff. Went to Johnny Lewis's school, Johnny Lewis's slide school, and learned a bunch there. And then that next weekend, I raced my first flat track race. And it's crazy how much the little bikes transition to the big bike. Honestly, I felt like the 450 was a little bit easier to ride because it's a real motorcycle. It's a full frame bike. And went out my first weekend. I think I took like third or something or second. And then did a few more. I think this was like I think like a beginner class or whatever, And I ended up like by I think the second race, I ended up getting kicked out of it because I lapped the whole field, and then they're like, "Yeah, you're out." I'm like, "Well, I'm a beginner,"
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so then got into flat track pretty heavy. Went and did the coin, the amateur nationals, rode the mile, and that was pretty intense. Like riding the mile was a whole experience in itself, and I was hooked, man. Like flat track racing's cheap. It's cheap, boys. It's you rock the same set of tires for a few races, and you're not burning a bunch of fuel. The entry fees are pretty cheap. I think like average club race entry for flat tracks like $25 a race, and but those boys party afterwards, dude. They only race for one day, so it's like Saturday night you're racing, and then all the rest of the night. Like after the track goes cold, like everyone's partying. Like it's a lot different than road racing in the aspect where like, you know, it people don't take it as serious because I think they don't have as much money invested, you know.
Yeah.
But it's a good time, and I mean I encourage everybody get on the flat track. Like I did that for the whole season, and then at the end of the year for the Race of Champions, I was like, you know, I want to get back on the road race bike, so I pulled my SV out of the corner and dusted it off, and didn't even change suspension or nothing. And I went and did the endurance race, the team challenge out there, and I did it solo. And it was crazy how much more feel I had. Like I got on the bike and I was like, I've like I felt like I went so much faster right off the bat because the bike wasn't sliding, not moving, and when it does, you feel it, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, flat tracking's been awesome, and it's a good tool to get, you know, stay fresh in between rounds, especially you know, because can't go ride the road race course all the time, you know, because you just got not there's not enough money. And so getting on the flat track, and I mean, I love it. Honestly, I absolutely love it. It can be kind of dangerous, you know. You know, I've been ran over. I've ran a few guys over. It kind of goes with the territory, but yeah, man, I recommend it to everybody. Start small. Go to the slide ranch. Go to corner spin. Um, you know, go test it out. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's you might as well put a needle in your arm because it's about that addicting. As soon as you get on that little bike and you're like, you're having so much fun sliding it, and and the cool thing is you can ride it really anywhere. You know, like you got your own little yard. Like Ryan and I back in the day, you just not, you know, you're not going to always have the perfect track, but you can still ride it and get some seat time in every day, and you'd be surprised on how much you can learn by just riding in the backyard.
Oh, 100%, you know, and flat track's something I've never done. I'd love to give it a go for sure. And it translates so much, like you said, into road racing. You're like, oh my God, I feel this. And when the bike slides, you're used to it. So you know what to expect kind of in a way, right?
Oh
Um,
yeah, and it helps you save it. You know, like instead of just giving up when the rear end slides or the front end slides, number one, that you're learning the language of the bike. You know, like it's telling you something. You just have to know how to hear it. You know.
read it, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, you're more than welcome to rip my 450, dude. I'll get you into the beginner course. I'm sure we can find something down in the Carolinas and let you ride it, dude. You can't do anything that I haven't done to it.
Right. Yeah. Listen, I'll take you up on there because actually I've been talking to Ryan. I'm actually gonna come down there and hang out with him on the weekend. We're gonna do a live podcast there. Yeah, man. We'll have absolutely Eddie. Yeah, we'll
Yeah, you'll see
absolutely
the
have a
track,
good
dude.
time. Yeah.
You'll see the track. Ryan just set up a new CRF 150, the injected one. He set it up
Nice.
like flat track style, dude, and it was like it's the perfect bike to go rip around on his track, and you'll see it. It's definitely not. I mean, it's your homeboy's track. You know, there's some roots and there's some ruts and some rocks, but you'll still have a good time.
That's yeah, I already know, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward. That's one of my favorite things too, is to have you guys on and actually meet you, everybody in real life. It's an absolute blast because it's like I always say, none of us are strangers or friends that haven't met yet, right? And it just makes it
Yeah,
even
yeah.
more sweet. What's going on, Rossi?
Got a wig on.
I got a wig on. I told you I was going to wear it. Rossi was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm going to wear this on the podcast today. We're going to go out and go buy some more wigs. I'm going to change them up. What do you think about that?"
Look at it. It's a fake wig.
It's of course it's a fake wig. You can't, buddy. You can't right now. I'll let you wear it when I get done. All right. You gonna say hi to Eddie?
What's up?
He
You
said,
been playing
"What's up?"
Fortnite?
Yeah, Fortnite. You been in there playing Fortnite or the Oculus?
Yes.
He's big into Legos, right? He likes
Oh
making
yeah,
those little butterfly knives. Dude. He's got like a bunch of them.
yeah. That's all I did when I was a kid was build Legos. You know.
Dude, right? Dude, listen, I love Legos. Me and Rossi still, we go there. Like we did the Optimus Prime, the one that transforms into into the semi truck, and we got
Okay.
yeah, dude, he's got a bunch of Legos.
Eddie Brock
Eddie Brock. Who's Eddie Brock?
from The Walking Dead.
From The Walking Dead. That's right. That's right. Actually, I gotta watch out, Rossi. Let me show. I gotta move out the picture, buddy. Back up real quick. I got the Ducati Lego right there.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And then you see
Yeah.
Thor's hand right there, and then Rossi always
Thor's
puts. I mean, not Thor's hand. The gauntlet. What's that from? The
Oh,
Avengers.
yeah.
Yeah, and you see Rossi will come in here, and you see the middle finger sticking up. So
Uh-huh.
he always changes this the all that stuff. Which is, dude,
Yeah.
Legos are good though, man. Because I'm glad he's into stuff like that because it helps him think on his own, right? So he'll go in there and he'll just start making stuff. I'm like, how'd you make that? He's like, oh, I just sat there and just put it together, and I was like, bro, that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I mean, Legos teach you a lot on just building stuff, and like I've been I actually I build Legos with my nephew all the time. If he's good during the month, we'll go buy, like, he likes the cars, all the exotic car ones, and we'll go buy one and build it together. And it's I like spending some time with him and teaching him and seeing him learn. It's pretty cool.
It is, man. It is, and Legos are a lot of fun. And honestly, man, they're some of them are fucking challenging. And I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
what? Like, I got to read the directions twice. I'm like, hold up, I didn't do this right. Let me take this back apart. It's it's not
Yeah,
as
it
cut and
definitely
dry.
goes off. And man, they're kind of expensive nowadays.
Bro, my
Dude.
dad just bought the well, not just that $800 Millennium Falcon.
Oh,
And
really?
dude, that son of a bitch is like, it's huge.
Dude,
I
that take
mean, it's
months to build.
bro, I'm telling you, it's absolutely amazing. He's got it almost done now. And I told him, man, because we moved it one time and it's not very sturdy. I was like, well, you got to re-put it back together, super glue. That way it'll never fall apart. You
Never
can move it
fall
if you
apart.
need to move it or whatever. But it amazes me how big they are. And you're right. Every time we go to the store, Russ is like, oh, I want this Lego. I'm like, okay. And I get there, it's like $60. I'm like, God damn, $60. But
Right.
of course,
I mean, that's just the world we live in nowadays.
it is. I spoil my kid. I can't lie. But yeah, so listen, Eddie, you and for a full-time job, you actually work at RTR, correct?
No, not anymore. I mean, I help out
Okay.
Ryan here and there. I used to work there full time, but you know how it can be sometimes when you work. Ryan and I worked together. We hung out every day. We went to the track every day, and it was like sometimes you just spend too much time together,
Yeah.
and your friendship kind of reflects it a little bit. So uh, we decided to kind of go our own ways, but we hang out a lot, and we always help each other, and we're still great buddies. It's just I was, he's kind of brought me up and helped me a lot, so then I had to spread my wings and start doing my own thing. And so yeah, as of right now, I got a few different jobs. I work with Jesse from Disrupt and Infinity Fall Protection, doing different fall protection on roofs and stuff, and all over the country. And Jesse helps me out a lot with doing all that, and it works around the race schedule. And then I'm actually working in Mark Roads in Chicago right now, helping him build some bikes. And then I do my own bikes on the side. This is a
Yeah.
78 KZ that I'm restoring right now, and
Nice.
so I do. I'm just on the hustle. I'm a carpenter too, so I do a bunch of carpentry work when I can, and just wherever I can fit the time in to make some money. That's kind of what I'm doing.
I do the same. I know construction. I work construction. I turn wrenches on the side. And the thing that I love about turning wrenches on the side is I pick and choose on what bikes I want to take in. Not like a dealership. I call them stealerships, but dealership where they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, work on this freaking 1980 Going. It's got an oil leak and you're taking the thing apart. It takes you 3 days. Just take all the fucking plastics
Oh,
off
by the
this
way,
bad.
you're supposed to do it in 7 hours.
Right. And you're like, wait, what, dude? And I got to the point too where Eddie, I was like, dude, I hate working on a bike. Like, I don't care if I got to the point I get home, I'm like, I need to change the oil on my bike, bump it. I'll do it tomorrow. It's like, it kind of fall out of love with it in a sense,
Yeah.
because it's extra added pressure because it's my paycheck now. Right. And I was like, you know what? I'll just give me a full-time job somewhere else and turn wrenches on the side and pick and choose what I want to work on. And yeah,
Yeah, I
it works out.
100% agree. I definitely I like spending the extra time on the bikes, and that's why I like
Me
doing the
too.
race bikes and the
Yeah.
restores and the custom stuff. It's like, and the customer, number one, they aren't coming at you with a few dollars and asking you to do all this stuff. They're like, they know what they're getting. They expect to spend that money, and then on top of it, they like the attention to detail, and that's the kind of work I like, when you go above and beyond, and You know, there's like my OCD would kick in when you come to have these street bikes come in and it'd be like they got 7 different fasteners holding the freaking
Bro,
fairings on. Yeah.
that's
And
me,
you're
bro.
like,
Dude,
come on. So then you like got to spend the time and you pick through the bolt bin and you try to make them all the same, and
nope,
then they don't even notice, or the
no,
little stuff like that. So I like taking on the jobs where the people care, like there's some sentimental value, or it's like a race bike where it matters. You have to have that detail, and that's where I've been picking and choosing, like you said, is you kind of instead of just doing the random street bike stuff, and this clap bike comes in, fork seals are leaking all over the brake pads, and the guy's like, yeah, just give me a rear tire, and you're like, dude, your chain's clapped, your butt, and it's like, I wouldn't even recommend you riding this on the street,
right. Yeah,
and they're like, well, I only got $100. And you're like, you want to help them out because motorcycles are dying, it's a
yeah,
dying sport, but at the same time, when you're, like you said, it makes you fall out of love for it, and then you get on these ungrateful customers, and you know how
dude.
it goes. And
Dude, absolutely. And no, listen, everybody out there right now that's got a motorcycle, do us a favor. Go get all the same bolts. I mean, it's cheap, it's easy to do. There's nothing that makes my blood boil when I'll be like, yeah, I'll work on it. Right. And then I get it in there. I need 4 different size sockets just to take off one side fairing, right? Or 5 different Allen keys because they're all different, or Allen key in a 10mm or 8. And it's like, dude, you gotta
yeah,
be kidding me.
and then you put those darn lights on there with no freaking disconnects, and then, oh
Bro,
man,
dude.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm like, dude, how did you wire this in? You didn't put no disconnects? No, I just wired it straight in. I was like, dude, in order to you didn't think about taking it back apart one day, right? It's like, no, I didn't think about that. I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
got you. Yeah, it's dude, I get it. So, a funny story. This guy I know, he calls me up. He's like, I can't get my drain bolt out, and I was like, okay, I'll come by and take a look at it. It was I think it was an 0405 GS6R 750, right? So I get there, I take off the side fan, and as soon as I look underneath it, I was like, bro, who the fuck JB welded the drain plug in?
Oh
He's like,
my
yeah.
god.
He's like, that was me. And I'm like, dude, what? Like, I'm just confused right now. Like, I just really want to choke him out like Homer Simpson, right? Like, dude, what are you doing, man? He said, well, this is the problem, Simco. This is what I did is I went to change my oil. And when I put the bolt back in, I used he had this long breaker bar.
Oh
He's like, and I cracked my pan. So I just JB welded the crack and JB welded my drain bolt in. I was like, well, how you plan on changing the oil? He's like, well, I went out and I bought some drill bits. I was going to drill a hole in the bottom of the oil pan and JB weld it back. And I was like,
my
bro,
god.
absolutely not. Like, you need to sell all your tools. Don't ever touch anything mechanical again, because it's absolute no, dude. And so okay, order gasket, oil pan, got to drop the exhaust. Then if I do that, if it don't, because it was all stock, right? So
Yeah.
it even where it broke mid, I still had it. I couldn't get the oil pan out, so you need header gaskets, and dude, it's this one job
Yeah, it
turned
adds
into,
up.
bro, quick, and I'm like, look, dude, it's, $400. He's like, God damn, dude, to change the oil pan. I'm like, bro, there's like a lot of shit you got to do. But on top of that, I'm like, dude, I went ahead and checked your brakes, bled them. Like, you had a couple different fasteners, dude. I took off the bodywork and there's wires just going every which direction. I take my time to zip tie them together and tuck them in and make them look,
Yeah.
dude, come on, man. This is like a rat's nest when you take off the side fairings. Like the RC51 I bought, it had these freaking stupid lights in the fairings with this little toggle switch. The first thing I did when I got it home is all the body work come off. Dude,
Yeah.
the wiring harness was a freaking absolute nightmare. And I was like, bro, it took me 2 days to, go through it, cut out what I did. And he was using speaker wire, right? On top of that. So it's like,
That's the go-to, dude. That's
bro,
you don't
facts.
use speaker wire? Like, dude, that's all I use.
Yeah, it's dude, I
Yeah,
was
like it's nuts.
bro,
And then they're wondering, they're like, oh, my bike dies all the time. Like,
duh, right?
yeah, you got to draw with all this extra accessories on here. You got your vibrator and your freaking phone plug in and all this different stuff. Got
bullshit you don't need.
Yeah, man, yeah. So I'm definitely thankful. I mean, like doing this stuff is like, it's fine. It's nice, no nut and bolts are skipped. And I'm doing, here's my flat track bike right here. Got
Nice.
Kaye, and then those some of the TTRs that we rock in, and then this is another this one that I've been taking my time with. It's a 89 Gixxer 1100, like full custom subframe and kind of Street Fighter look. It's coming together. Yeah, so those are the stuff that's the kind of bikes I enjoy doing. Like you said, it's you kind of battle that in your side of your head. It's like money or doing it where you enjoy it and burning you out. And I've been burnt out before, and so just doing enough where I'm really I'm still enjoying what I do.
Oh, me too. It's a zen for me. I go out in my garage and I'll be in 2 hours. My wife's like, she already knows. She's like, okay, I'll be out there for 6 hours, right? And it's just, and it's I get such joy, especially working on mine or a customer's bike. I'm always washing them and polishing them out, so when they come pick them up, they look as brand new as they can be. And it's zen almost, right? And I'm like you, I love working on older bikes, and I love carburetors. Carburetors is a lost art. Like, you don't go to MMI and they don't really teach carburetors anymore because everything's fuel injected,
they don't.
right? So it's
you get one little carburetor. They're like, here's a dirt bike carburetor, and this is how it works. They don't teach you inline stuff or any of that,
not how to properly vacuum gauge them, to sync them, the butterflies, none of that, man. They taught me all that, but now it's like I get a lot of work, and that's pretty much what I do is carburetors. Like, yeah, dude, is it carburetor? Yep, cool, bring it by. Oh, dude, you want to mess with the power commander and all this? I'm like, fuck no, I don't. You need to take that shit to a dyno, goddamn it, where that's what they do. That's not what I do. Yeah, I can plug my laptop on my RC51 and I've done it to mess with it, right? Of course, when fuel injector come out, yeah, that's basically how you learn to a point, right? So when I got the RC51, it has a Power Commander 5 on it, and I was like, you know what? I'm buying an auto tuner. So I got a DynoJet auto tuner that I put on it, and boom, there you go. I don't have to worry about shit. It does it itself, right?
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
It is, but carburetors, you're right. It's absolutely a lost art. People, like, even a single car, people look at it. I'm like, yeah, dude, you probably need to change your main jet, or when's the last time you cleaned it? He was like, well, how do you do that? I'm like, you take it off and take it apart, a float ball and a slide. And I was like, do you have a CV slide or is it a flat slide? They're like, they look at you like a fucking deer in headlights. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, never mind. I got you. Yeah. It's but carburetor's a lot of fun, but it can be a headache in a way that you go do a jet kit, and you put it in. Of course, you got to put it all back together, take it out, ride it, and you're like, okay, I have a flat spot between $7,000 and $9,000, right? So now I go back and I change a main jet, right? Go back out, and then you're out here doing 100 miles an hour because you got to get in that spot, right, to where it's going to act up. Yeah, dude. So it's that lost art, fun, plug chop almost, kind of, in a sense, right?
Exactly. And checking the plug, and let's talk about especially let's say you rebuild your carb and you don't buy the rebuild kit, and you're like, oh, get it all back together, throw it on the bike, and then it just starts pissing out everywhere, and you're like, oh fuck, gotta take these things back off. So I definitely learned in my time. That's where I grew up with my dad in his shop, doing all the KZ stuff. It's all carbureted. So I didn't learn that when I went to MMI. I just learned it going to just watching my dad, and then of course trial and error throughout the years of just learning. It's like, hey, if you're bringing me your bike and you want a carb rebuild kit, or me to rebuild your carbs, like, you're buying the whole kit. We're not going to try to reuse that old carb bowl steel or any of that. It's like, no, we're going to start fresh. And you got 10, 12,000 miles on your 1980s bike. Like, we probably should check the valves, because the carbs aren't going to work if the valves aren't working. So you know how it goes. And it's definitely an art in itself. And I like it. Sometimes I curse it. You're like, man, I take these carbs off 5 times today.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw it against the wall and stomp on it and walk away. Sometimes, dude, I get aggravated. It's because it's such aggravating sometimes, especially like this is the 4th time I had to take these fucking carburetors off. But that's also part of the journey. So it's frustrating,
but it's so rewarding when it's done. You're like, yes, it's running good, it's crispy. You're like, yeah.
You're like, dude, listen to this thing just sing, and how responsive it is. It's
right.
Nothing's like
and
a
then
proper setup carburetor.
Right, and the cackle and the jiggling of the flat slides. You're like,
Dude,
yeah,
it is.
That's
dude,
how bikes.
It really is.
Yeah, I love it.
It's it's easier now with fuel injection. Of course, you just come in and plug it up and change this, change that, unplug it, and off you go. But still, it's satisfying doing all the work yourself. And like you said, when the job's done, you fire it up, and nothing's worse than because I did a last year I did a WR 450, and I was like, I'll take it, I'll do it right. Pull the carb off. Totally forgot, like a dumbass, that it has you can take the carburetor body completely apart because it's got a mid gaskets too, right? Not just a float ball and the main jets and all that. It's so, dude, I just float balls, the new, needles, the circlips, the main jet, pilot jet, blah, 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 fuel mixer screw, back it out, back it in, count, set it all up, get it back in, turn the gas back on, leaking like a motherfucker. I'm like, you got to be shitting me right now, right? Like, I just totally forgot because it's been so long since I worked on one. And I was like, wait a minute, this thing carburetor comes completely apart. And then I bought the mid, put it back together. And when the guy came and got it, he's like, my bike has never ran like this, even when I bought it used. I mean, it was like,
that's so rewarding.
I'm like, yeah, baby, let's sing,
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely, it's so rewarding when people say that, especially if they're old bikes, and if it's a bike that's in really good shape and you're like, you got to get it running proper. And yeah, I mean, I ran into that with this, man. I did this the first VX10 ever made, right? And I this was a bike I think I did last year, and like carbs were not too bad. Took it apart, cleaned it, but they were hard to put on because they had that air box where they're rubber, like with springs on it, and you got to stretch it, but that rubber gets old and it's really hard to put on. And man, I got it on and I was all happy. I got it fired up, and like cylinder 2 didn't run. I was like, what the heck, man? Like, went through taking it all back off, like trying to figure it out, and come to find out the float had a hole in it. So it ended up taking on some fuel. So now it's like, now every time I work on an old bike, I take those floats and I check them, make sure they float every time, because that itself, like, I mean, another hour of messing around to get these dang things off. And at the time I was working for Jason Farrell, and it was like, you kind of lose your ass at the end of the day because you're, like so it's the little tricks, especially with the carburetors, is like going through with these steps, knowing all the little tricks and getting it right the first time you throw them back on. So yeah, nowadays, I mean, if you're like, you got an old bike, you bring me a carb, I'm like, no, we're rebuilding every piece of rubber on these things. And then, and it works perfect at the end,
Yep. It does. And you're right. I've had that, messed around and had a float, just drove me absolute. I'm like, dude, maybe I need to bend the tang on the float, And then I hook it up to it and measure, see how much gas is. And I was like, well, this is the recommended amount I'm supposed to have in the float bowl, but it's, dude, absolutely. And then one time I did on my ZX6R, I fucked around and put a hole in my diaphragm, one of my diaphragms. That cost me like $130 for the diaphragm. But dude, one of the cylinders, you're right, I was like, dude, there's absolutely something wrong with this thing. It's not running right. I just beat my head over it, and I finally took them back out and I held it up, and I was like, you got to be shitting me. How the hell did I put a hole in my diaphragm? Right? It happens. It does. Yeah. It happens. But yeah, listen, dude, we're an hour and 20 minutes into this almost, dude. This is what I love about podcasts. Like, it goes by so fast.
So it really does. I glanced up too, and I was like, dang, I feel like we haven't been here that long.
No, we haven't. And so the garage you're in now, is that your personal garage?
So this is my buddy's up in Wisconsin, my best friend. So when I moved back here a few years ago, about a year and a half ago now. I just wanted, I was living in the Carolinas, down there since I got stationed there for about, like, I think 11 years. And my mom, she's getting a little bit older, and nieces and nephews and the family. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to come spend some time with them. And against really what I wanted to do, just because of the cold, like, I lost it. I just don't have the resistance to it no more. I'm the biggest pussy when it comes to the cold. And everyone around here talks so much crap. I got like 2 sweatshirts on, a jacket, long johns, like wearing boots. And they're like, it's nice out there wearing sweatshirts. And I'm like, nah, man, I can't deal with this cold no more. But so I moved back up here, and he had like his boat and a few other things in here, and it was unfinished. And kind of made a deal with him. So, we finished it, insulated it, finished it, put a fire pit in here, or a wood burning stove. and just kind of worked it all out. And he likes working on bikes, and he kind of wanted to give me a place to be able to work on my stuff. And so it kind of worked out. I helped him, he helps me. And so yeah, I mean, it's pretty much my shop, but I don't own it.
Yeah, that dude, listen, that's awesome. That's a good friend, man. And man, I try to tell my son, I'm like, this and that, this and that. And I'm like, dude, it's hard to have true friends, right? Because
Yeah,
everybody ends up wanting something, or they like you because they use you for whatever reason it is, they feel fit or to fill their needs, or whatever it is. So yeah, it's absolutely amazing, dude. So the military, I grew up in the
yeah.
Navy. What did you join?
I joined the Marine Corps. I was a dog handler. I got a pretty good job. I didn't sign up out of going into boot camp as a dog handler. I was actually a military policeman, like some of the guys like to say it, a buddy fucker. Um, but I went through the school and everything, and I ended up getting stationed in Camp Lejeune, and I was able to move into the dog handling section. You have to do an in-doc pretty much. It's called OJT, on the job training, where they select you and see if you're fit to be able to handle a dog. And worked through all that, and was able to get on a dog. And it was a pretty good experience. You always have your dog with you, and everyone treats you really good because you got a dog. So, but yeah, I never ended up doing any of the MP stuff. Never stood gate, never wrote a ticket, never drove a car. Like, just got into the dog handling stuff. And that was it was awesome. I ended up getting my dog. I got out, and he retired about a year later, and I got to get him. And he ended up living to almost 16, dude, as a German Shepherd, which is pretty crazy. And
Yeah.
yeah, I was blessed to be able to have some time with him for about 4 years after we both were out. And he went to all the tracks with me, and he was all around. And so it was pretty cool. It was a good experience of and like I said, I was spoiled. I had a great a great job, and good dog. And like I said, everyone treats you better when you got a dog, so it was
Yeah.
nice.
I'm a big dog lover. I always have been. So yeah, it's I got 2 dogs. I ain't been without a dog since I was 19, and I tell people it's like they're the greatest things in the world, but they also break your heart more than anything,
Oh yeah,
when they go to the Rainbow Bridge, right? I've been there, I've done
for
that, dude,
sure.
many, many times, but it's
Yeah.
it's it's something to be said for that unconditional love that the dog has for you, right?
Oh yeah, unbelievable. I just had to, you know, it was hard losing them. We've been through a lot together, and it was I had to change my mindset. I had to change my
Yeah,
mindset to being thankful for having all that time, and
yep,
not that I lost something. It's
yep,
like I had changed my mind to be like, oh, well, I'm lucky to have what I have, instead of being like, oh, I don't have it anymore. So,
yeah,
uh, I was like, I'm gonna clone this dog. Like, I legit was like looking into it, like being serious. Like, it's pretty expensive, but
yeah.
some days I'm like, man, I wish I cloned him, but probably
Yeah.
better I didn't.
Yeah, listen, nothing like man, your first one too. Like my first dog, her name was Honey. I named her Honey because my name's Christopher, right? And Christopher
Hmm.
and Winnie the Pooh, and his favorite thing was his honey jar. So I named it Hunny, just like the honey jar. And man,
Okay.
she was my absolute I mean, she slept in the bed with me. We shared the same pillow. She slept under the covers, and we lost them again. He'll be back here in a second. I must have had another call or another message alert. All right. Oh, there he is. All right, you
Oh, we're
back
back.
again. All right. Yeah, man. And dude, we did everything together. And uh I'll never forget when I had to put her down, dude. I called my best friend and I was crying so hard. And he told me, he reminded, because I go to text with him every year. We were talking about it not too long ago. He's like, I'll never forget that phone. Actually, it was after he put his first dog down. He's like, dude, I'll never forget that phone call you gave me that day. It sounded like you just lost your whole family and your whole world just ended. And
Yeah.
I was like, because it did, bro. Like, absolutely, it did.
Yeah,
And
it's crazy how you get that attachment.
bro, I was so mentally fucked. Like, I was depressed, and it was very mentally challenged. But you're right. The same thing. I had to just think about, you know what? at least I was blessed to spend that time with her and the way we grew up. And I gave her the absolute best life. Like, dude, we had such a good bond. Like, I could take her for a walk and I didn't even have to have her on a leash. She would
Yeah,
never go
same.
straight by my side. She was friendly with everybody. It was, yeah, man. But since then, I was like, you know what? I don't never want to be without a dog. Like, I don't. And they're all different. They all got their own personalities and their do's and their don'ts. And they're just absolutely, they're like my best friend because you can tell them any secret you want and they'll never tell nobody.
No joke.
Absolutely not. Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. I mean, yeah, Dom Doyle was actually staying with me that winter. We were training together, doing a lot of, going to the gym a lot and hitting it hard. And, he ended up being there during the time that Barry passed away. And he was a huge support and really, that dog meant a lot to me. I ended up playing taps for him and putting a flag over him when he passed and doing the whole nine, kind of gave him the ceremony. And, it was a rough one, but it's part of life, and what would life be without death? And so you kind of gotta, you gotta work through it. I haven't got another dog yet, just with the racing stuff. And then when they're a
yeah,
puppy, you got to spend a lot of time with them, and
it is.
um, my dogs are always been trained pretty well, so I want to be able to spend the time and give them that good foundation that sticks with them the rest of their life, and hopefully soon. We'll see. I was thinking about getting a wiener dog just because they're little and they're easy to travel with. Just have a little dog, and all
Yeah.
my buddies make fun of me because I'm like, they're used to me always having a big old German Shepherd, and so
Now you have a
I
little
guess we'll
lap
see.
dog, right? Yeah. Dude, listen,
Yeah,
ain't
yeah,
nothing wrong with it, man. I like little dogs too, right? But me, like I don't ever pay for a dog. I'll go adopt one, right? Or
yeah,
somebody that has puppies and they just give them away. I just, dude, there's too many dogs that get bought or taken back to the pound and all that good stuff. I'd rather go rescue
for
one.
sure.
Yeah, and bring them home. And I always let them pick me out. Like I don't ever pick one out, right? Whatever breed, whatever style, color, whatever, it don't matter to me. I let them pick me, and yeah, let's go home, buddy. Let's make it happen.
Right.
For sure. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. So listen, man, we're coming up on an hour and 30 minutes. I want to get away from all the motorcycle talk and ask you what Eddie does away from the work and the KZ and the motorcycle and the training and all that good stuff. But one question I do have is motorcycle related before we move away from that. Do you have any like superstitions you do to prepare for a race, like left boot on before your right glove or certain type of
I
music you
wouldn't
listen
say
to?
superstition. I would say more order of operation. You know what I mean? Like, just, yeah, 100%. Left goes on first every time. Left boot, right boot, left glove, right glove. And I think part of the glove situation is because I'll usually leave my right glove off until till right before I get on the bike. So I still can do stuff, still got my hand to operate, and, but yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a superstitious kind of guy. I mean, I like to pray right before I go out, give a quick shout out to God and just, make sure I'm, protected, ready to go out. But besides that, like, no, I wouldn't really say I'm superstitious. I used to take a nap right before. I would like legit close my eyes for about 15 minutes and just kind of relax right before I go out. But recently with all the Moto America stuff, I do mostly everything myself. I don't have a whole crew. And so kind of, I don't really get the time to do the nap. And luckily at the 200, I had a lot of people help me out. I'm very thankful for everyone that came out and helped me. And so I actually got a little bit more time to relax and not be turning the wrenches all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And there's a lot people don't realize how much work it goes into a race weekend, and especially if it's just you and one person or by yourself. Man, you got rear stand, front stand, tire warmers, generators. Then you got to go on the hot pit side, man. You got to carry all that shit with you and plug it in and run it, put the warmers back on it. Dude, it's
Yeah.
absolutely a lot
I
of
usually
work to
recruit somebody, you get in the race, you're on the grid. It's like you run around to all your friends and other racers that are racing different classes. Like, hey, can you come help me out? Or, if Ryan or Scott, they're not doing much. They definitely lend me a hand a lot. And, but they got Logan to focus on. So
yeah.
sometimes it's hard. I know they want to help me more, but you only can put your energy so many places. And, so yeah, it's sometimes hard, but yeah, I like to take that pre-race nap. I feel like I sit there and I kind of vision the track in my mind and go through it through, my own vision and then try to go out there and do well, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah, do you ever come to VIR and do track days or anything?
Yeah, I mean, VIR, living in the Carolinas, that was like our home track. I mean, besides NC Bike, so it was like, I'm super bummed that they took VIR off the schedule.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite tracks and one of the tracks I know the best as well. We've had so much time on that track, and so it's a bummer. Hopefully one day they can bring it back and make all us East Coast people happy,
Yeah, facts, 100%. Well, listen, if you ever find your way out and you're going to do a track day at VR, man, call me. I'll meet you down there and spend the weekend with you, and yeah, we'll have a good time for sure.
Yeah, it's always a good time
100%.
at VIR. I mean, it's such a beautiful place too, like
It
the
is.
scenery, and it's just there's something about waking up at VIR that just like is the best,
It is. Yeah, absolutely, man. But yeah, so listen, I'm gonna get into this part of the interview. Before we get off of here, I want to know, Eddie, what is your favorite movie?
So hard. I mean, honestly, favorite anything for me is really hard. Like I have a really hard time picking, but like comedy, I'd say probably Walk Hard. I don't know if you ever seen that with
Oh,
John C.
dude,
Riley.
absolutely, yeah,
That's
dude.
a good one. I like the movie The Professional.
Yep.
That's a pretty good one,
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty hard for me to pick a favorite, It's like I'm like
There's
that
so
with
many.
everything. Yeah,
It
there's
is.
too much.
It,
Or
yeah,
like on any given or any Sunday, it's always a good one. Reminds me of my dad. I don't watch it a whole lot. My dad passed away back in 2017, so I haven't really watched it since he's passed. But I probably should go give it a watch again.
yeah, absolutely. It's yeah, I apologize about your dad. Yeah, it's yeah. So Top Gun would be mine. That's my all-time favorite movie is Top Gun for sure. Because that's what my dad did, right? It fly jets off the
You're
aircraft.
probably gonna be pretty upset with me, but I never seen Top Gun until the new one came out. Like then I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch the first one. But that second one, I was like, dude, like, man, I should have been a pilot. You know what I mean? Like that looks fun. That looks like a
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah, dude, that's all. No, man, it's awesome. And I was scared when they said, "Oh, we're coming out with a Top Gun 2." I was like, "Please don't fuck this up. Please don't fuck this up."
It
Because
was
there's
pretty
so many
good.
sequels. Yeah, dude, it was really good. Which, yeah, absolutely. And then, but you're right, dude. Picking just one favorite thing is so hard because it really depends on what mood you're in or and all that good stuff, right? It's Kaye said, "No beard, no beard, nope, no beard."
No beard.
Nope, no beard, no beard. But yeah, so dude, books. I love reading audiobooks. Reading audiobooks. You don't read audiobooks, you listen to audiobooks,
Yo,
right?
I'm the same way. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, dude. So what are you currently listening to right now?
I think right now the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. That's a pretty good one I'm on. Can't Hurt Me. I mean, I probably listened to it like
Bro,
4 or 5, 6
bro.
times, dude. I don't know.
Yes.
Um, the oh man, now I'm drawing a blank. Cam Haynes's book Endure is a really good book
Okay.
that I listened to. Tim Kennedy,
Yeah.
what's his book? I'm
Dude,
trying to
listen, I
remember.
listen to all those. I got all those on
Yeah,
my
yeah.
Apple book, dude. I listen, yeah. And then Jesse Etzler, where he talks about having his book where he had David Goggins come and stay with him for like a couple months to
Yeah,
train him. Dude, that whole book was good. Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Another
good
good
one.
one too is Matthew McConaughey Green Light. Man, that's an awesome
Yeah, I
book.
heard you talking to Ryan about that on
Yeah.
your last podcast. I put that on my list to
Yes.
do. Another good one is the Art of Mastery.
The Art of Mastery. I
It,
have not read that. I'm
yeah,
writing this down.
that's a Robert Greene book, but it's a little dry. I mean, it talks about like Da Vinci and all these guys and like their journey to becoming a master in their art, and I really use a lot of that book in racing, and it was a good one. Any Robert Greene book I've really into, the 48 Laws of Power, the Art of Seduction, the or have you ever read the book the Zen and Art of Motorcycle Mechanics?
I just got done listening to that about a month ago.
That's a good
Absolutely.
one.
Dude, that whole journey, man, on the mountain, the mountainsides and the
Yeah,
kids. And
dude. So
dude,
I've
it was
listened to that one a few times.
Bro, absolutely amazing book. At first, I was like, because it starts out kind of slow, and you're like, dude, like and then all of a sudden, it's like one of those ones that gets really good. You just okay, I'm listening to one more chapter. I gotta listen to one more chapter, and the next thing you know,
Yeah.
6 hours into it, you're like, shit, I gotta stop listening to this. It's so right now I am currently listening to Max Verstappen's biography.
Okay.
So it's good. I find the Formula Ones that I've listened to, they're pretty much cut kind of dry, especially Gunther. I can never say his first name. He left Haas. He was the team principal at Haas. Man, it was just like Friday, January 2nd, 9 a.m. And then he goes through the whole day and he's like, okay, good night. And then Saturday, and I'm like, this is going to be kind of difficult to listen to all the way through, but I spent my money on it and I like them because of, Drive to Survive. So I listened to it. It was okay, but you'll get that when it comes to audiobooks,
Yeah, that's why I loved Goggins' book so much, because it was like it's a podcast book. So when they stop and Goggins comes in and tells his little 2 cents into the story and stuff, that one was like, dude, every book should be like this, What's that book, Leathered, you were talking about on the
dude?
other?
John Hopkins, Leather, bro. Listen, you
Yeah.
need to
I need to do that one.
download
I haven't done that yet.
It is apps, dude. That was it. I've read and listened to pretty much every motorcycle racer book there is out there, and by far, not taking nothing away from none of them. And I always say that they're all good, just like everybody. Everybody's got their own personal journey and their story to glory, right? And it's all interesting. Some more so than others. And what I loved about Hopkins is he don't hide nothing. It's like Nikki Hayden always says, I'm all in. Like, this is all my cards, straight up. This is me. This is who I am. He's talking about smoking weed and then racing a MotoGP bike right after, shit like that. And it just, bro, yeah, it blows my mind, and just for him to be honest with himself and to people that are listening, dude, absolutely one of the best books out there as far as motorcycle racers go, for sure.
Yeah, you have to send me a list, because man, you're trying to search for it, like trying to like motorcycle, MotoGP. It's like they don't come up, like, and unless someone gives you the, what the title is, it's hard to find them sometimes. But
gotcha.
Yeah, another good book I just listened to was called A Return to Love, and it's a book about like almost manifestation and bringing things into your life, and I've struggled with some mental problems, I guess. After my brain contusion, I rung my bell pretty good, and that book really helped me a lot to kind of like relearn how to love, and it was a really good book. I mean, I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, dude. Well, I tell you, dude, I'll send you some list of books. You send me some list of books. Oh, one more book that I'll say, but before I get to the questions again, is Adrian Bourdain, one of his books. Actually, my buddy Daniel Shoemake, big shout out to him, turned me on to it, and it was absolutely an amazing book. Those professional cooks, they're a different breed. I'll just say that they're absolutely a different breed, man. Talking about, dude, yeah, it's an absolute journey, and it kept me highly involved in it. It's one of those books that it's hard to put down. It's really good stuff. Music, Eddie, what's on your playlist right now?
Everything, man. I mean, literally everything. Like my dad was an older dad, so I got all the 50s, 60s. My grandma, I grew up with Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and all that. And then, my sisters are all older than me, so I got like, that 90s hip hop, then of course, like, growing up to the 2000s and all that. So, I mean, right now I'm on like a journey of finding like unknown bands, and like, so like they're kind of more old timey sound, like the 70s rock, but they're maybe some little rhythm and blues going on with Marcus King Band. I don't know if you ever heard of them, or the Red Clay Strays. On that right now. Austin Mead, we went and seen him live on accident. I actually went to go see Dirty Honey, and this is the shirt they were selling. And I was like, all right, I got to buy that for sure.
Yeah.
And so we went to go see Dirty Honey, and Austin Mead like opened them up, and I like looked at the girl that I went to the concert with, and I was like, I think I like these guys better than like Dirty Honey, And I ended up listening to them a lot, and So yeah, I mean, it's all around, it just depends on my mood. When I'm working out, I kind of like to listen to like some gangster rap, something that's got a good beat to it. But I like country music, old, new, whatever. I don't think there's a border around music. It's hard because it's like art. So you can't say like that's music, that's not music. It all
Right.
has its own thing. But yeah, I mean, if you went through my playlist, it's funny because sometimes I'll just put it on shuffle and people will look at me like I'm crazy. I got some like 90s pop music in there, like a Night at the Roxbury kind of like, just
Oh,
all different kinds of stuff. Yeah, yeah, you got it. You got the right haircut for that too. But
that's
yeah, so
awesome,
it's
man.
yeah, it's everything, man. I mean, I just love music and just depends on the mood. I mean, I like some Sabbath and, a little bit of the Doors. I'm definitely a sucker for that
Me too.
70s, late 60s rock music. So it's all over the map, man. I mean, sometimes I listen to Little Baby, like all
Dude,
different kinds of stuff. So,
I'm with you. I'm the same way. Like I'll go to work and I'll put my shuffle on my shit, and it'll go from Frank Sinatra to the Doors to Young Dolph to
hmm
yeah. So and they're like, dude,
a
what the
little,
hell are
little
you listening
boosty.
to?
Everyone,
Yeah, little all that.
yeah,
Yeah. But I love Frank
yeah,
Sinatra.
yeah,
He's one of my favorites. I put Frank on and
for
just
sure.
straight jam out. He's such a great music. Dude, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Neither, man. I've never watched either.
No.
No, honestly, I mean, maybe I watched a little Star Trek with like my I don't know, maybe it was just on TV or something, but like no, I've honestly never watched a full Star Wars movie all the way through.
Okay, are DC or Marvel?
I would say Marvel for sure, like I mean, maybe back in the day before the Marvel movies came out, I was more of a DC guy, but man, their production's pretty on point and they make some good
It is.
movies. So,
So what
I
character
mean,
would you be?
uh what character would I be? That's a hard one. I wasn't prepared for this one. I don't know. I really like Captain America, like he's just a badass and he's
He
he's
is a
you know,
badass.
he's not too crazy with his superpowers. I mean, of course, Tony Stark, like I mean, imagine all the bikes I'd have.
Right? Facts.
Yeah, yeah.
Facts, dude. Tony Stark. Yeah, that's a good one. It's yeah, dude. I,
Yeah.
I didn't think of it like that, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Dude. Think of all the bikes we would have. Yeah, that's good,
hmm
man. Um, food. I love food, Eddie. And I love to cook, right? And I'm into like Greek and Thai because I like spicy food too, man.
hmm
So, what kind of food are you into?
Man, I'm like a pizza guy, dude. Honestly, if I'm gonna have a cheat day or something, like I'm a big pizza guy. I've always been like pizza and beer, maybe some chicken wings, like that's my
Absolutely.
go-to. If I'm eating healthy, I kind of I eat like a dog. I say like I eat real plain, and I try to make it so it's the simplest thing, so that's easy to make. So then you don't like, if you're trying to make this hard meal and stay on a diet and you're kind of strapped on time, it's hard to stick to it. So,
It
um,
is.
so yeah, I mean, it just really depends on. But if I'm not trying to stay thin, I could eat pizza every day of my life.
Bro, I'm with you. I love pizza. My version of healthy pizzas, my favorite pizza is a pizza margarita, right? Just simple. It's a little bit of mozzarella cheese, the basil and the tomatoes. It's absolutely amazing. And I make mine out of naan bread, the
Okay.
Indian bread. Yeah, I don't eat a lot of bread. I try to cut that out because a lot of it's so bad for you.
Yeah, I try to watch, especially I'm naturally just a bigger guy, so
Yeah,
in the
me too.
racing scene, I'm like if I'm not working out, I'm over 200 pounds. If I'm not really trying to run and stay thin, and so um, it's always a struggle during the season. Last night my sister, she's actually shout out to my sister. She's having triplets, and I went to her baby shower, and like everyone, I'm in Wisconsin, so I don't know if you ever been up here, but they like to
I have.
drink. All right,
Yeah,
they
I
really
have.
like to drink. So everyone's like, "Oh, you're not drinking. You want another beer? You want another beer?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm trying to." Not drink a whole lot because it's a lot of calories taken in. And
Right.
it's just funny because they're like, you're nothing like your family, and I'm like, nah, I
Well,
mean, I love drinking beer. I just, make a sacrifice to,
yeah.
why go in the gym and work so hard and then go waste it, just for a little bit of satisfaction, like instant satisfaction, just not worth it.
No, you absolutely. And Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
Oh, only with Canadian, or what is it? Yeah, Canadian bacon, I think it is, or the
Canadian.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
No, I don't either. I love pineapple, dude. Pineapple goes, dude. You ever grill pineapple?
Dude, you ever put pineapple on tacos?
Dude, absolutely
Yeah.
smacks, dude. Yes, actually, I went to we have a place out here. It's called BJ's, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have pineapple spears and coconut water, and it's like one of the most amazing things you're ever gonna eat. Like I'll drink the juice. Oh my god, it's so good. Yes,
Yeah,
pineapple's good on a lot of stuff. You know, you mix
it
pineapple
is.
peaches, and dude, you can put it on pretty much anything, tacos, whatever. It's really good. But yes, I'm with you on that. Absolutely,
Yes,
dude.
sir.
Have you tried grilled watermelon?
No.
Oh, dude, it's good. Like you obviously, like
I'm
you can't
definitely getting
grill a
that now.
watermelon. I'm like, yes, you can. You don't leave it on there very long. You just put it on there for like a second, flip it where it gets that char mark on it. It's warm, dude. It's so good. Like, dude, like pork chops. Like I like pork chops and peaches, but you do pork chops and like grilled watermelon too. Oh my god,
Oh, I'm gonna have to try that for sure.
bro. Yes, it's so good because I like to eat healthy too, right? It's very
Yeah.
important to listen to watch what you eat, but not only that is when I have conversation with people about eating healthy, they're like, "Oh yeah, well I just eat a lot of salad and carrots," and I'm like, "But you know, still you might have allergic reaction you don't know about to a carrot, right?
Exactly.
Listen to what your body's telling you. So if you eat something and you got a stuffy nose, or your nose is running, or you feeling a certain type of way, it's probably because an ingredient that was inside there. And that's where you got to do your homework and kind of narrow it down and trial and error and all that good stuff. But if you
Yeah,
listen to
for
what your
sure.
body's telling you, you will lose your weight 100%.
Yeah, I know you've lost a lot of weight over the last few
I
years
did.
and in time. You know, right when my dad died, I was like I was almost 297 pounds, dude. Like I was a pretty big guy. And you know, really after he passed away, I was like, I need to get him, you know, check with my health. And then of course racing helped it get me down. And so yeah, I ended up like losing like over 100 pounds over the last, you know, since 2017 till like 2019. And then now it's like you can still kind of eat the way you want. You just got to pay attention. You just can't, you know, indulge all the time.
No, you're right. Yeah. So I weighed it was like, dude, my heaviest was like almost 270 pounds. I was like almost a 40 waist, dude. And I was like, I'm tired of being a fat ass. Like, I got to do
Right.
something like for real, man. I'm trying to get rid of these girly titties, dude, all that shit, dude, for
Those
real. I mean,
lumberjack titties.
dude, let's just be honest, right? And you look down, you can't see your doodle bug or your feet or anything. You're like, dude, this is absolutely crazy. And yeah, basically, I just changed. Really conscious of what I eat. I don't eat after a certain time. I pretty much fast for 12 hours or more a day, pretty much.
Yeah.
Days to
Only
where,
drinking water is a huge thing.
oh, dude, that's all I drink is water, right?
Yo, you drink this yet?
Liquid death, yeah, absolutely, man.
Dude, this stuff is the best water on the face of the earth.
Plant, I agree,
Wow.
100%. Not
I'm
food,
like, I spent way too much money on this shit every week.
bro, dude, listen, my wife, she's like, how, dude, why are you buying that shit? It's water in a can. I'm like, girl, it's so good, dude. You know, it's like $15 for what, 6 or 8 of them or whatever.
Yeah, 8 of them. And everyone's like, it just tastes like water. I'm like, no, it tastes better than all the other water. It's like, there's definitely a difference. So now, yeah, I became a water snob over the last few months. Yeah. If you know Hammer, you can thank him for that. Jason Madama got me. We went and worked together with Jesse, and he was like, "Oh, you gotta try this water." And like ever since then, I'm like, dude, like
I'm hooked.
Like I'm a huge water drinker. I drink like, you know, maybe one energy drink a day, you know, right before I go to the gym, get my heart rate up, get a good sweat rolling. But then the rest of the day, I just try to drink water, you know. And I mean, that liquid death, man, I'm like
addicted.
I'm addicted, dude. Like 3 cases a month, or, you know, I'm buying. I'm like, dude, I'm spending a lot of money on water, but you know, I honestly feel better though. You know, you're not getting all that fluoride and all that other crap in the water nowadays. So, I mean, I love it.
I drink. I don't even know what size this is, dude. I drink, dude, like 6 or 7 of these a day.
Right.
Like literally, that's all I drink is water. I'll get up in the morning, maybe drink a little bit of coffee, but then it's just water.
It's so weird how like I get so much enjoyment out of drinking water, like the same as like people do drinking soda or whatever else. You know, it's like, man, I love this water. It's so good.
Yes, it is. And don't get me wrong, soda drinkers out there, soda's good too. I just don't personally drink it every blue moon. I'll take a sip of my son's like Dr. Pepper, and I'm like, yeah, this okay, I give it to you. This shit is good.
Yeah, it is good.
But it's so unhealthy for you, but
Yeah.
it don't quench my thirst, you know. Then so it's like, yeah,
No, I'm like an all in or nothing kind of guy. So like if I'm drinking soda, I'm gonna be drinking soda, you know, like so I try to stay away from it as much as possible. And of course if I'm I like to say when in Rome sometimes, it's like,
of course.
we're here. I'm not
I'm
eating that
feeling it.
healthy. I might as well drink a soda a little bit, but
You know what my weakness is when it comes to soda? It's not even carbonated. It's freaking cherry limeade, bro. You give me a cherry limeade, dude. I'm like, I'm sucking that thing down like,
right,
man, that shit was good. And then I'm peeing my brains out for the next hour because it's such a diuretic. And so I got bad ADHD, man. I didn't grow up, taking Adderall or Ritalin or any of that. So my parents did the best they could as watching like food dyes and sugars. And so I didn't really grow up drinking or eating a whole lot of sugars. Don't get me wrong. Yes, I got birthday cake, and yes, I would have soda and go to McDonald's and shit like that, but it wasn't a normal thing. Right. So now as I'm older, yeah, I could literally take 3 sips of a Dr. Pepper and I immediately got to go to the bathroom just because my body's not used to it. Yeah. It's just so not used to it. So yeah. Good stuff. So listen, man, let me ask you, everybody's got one or 5 or 8 or 10 celebrity crush. Eddie. Who's Eddie's celebrity crush?
I got too many now. I'm just kidding.
Right?
I mean, Eva Longoria, she's like, I like my spicy women, you know what I mean?
Me too. Eva Menendez.
Yeah, I mean, probably a little bit Scarlett Johansson.
Absolutely, Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, and maybe a little bit of Megan Fox. She's like my OG. When she came out in Transformers, like, who is this girl?
Right? Yeah. Halle Berry, a little older.
Like some Bond girls for sure, but
100%, dude. 100%.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: what advice would you give your younger self?
Man, probably a few things, honestly. Like, save 10% of your money. Like, dude, don't go be blowing all your money. If you save 10%, like, by the time you're 30, you have a decent amount of money, and stay away from the chalupa as long as you can.
Facts.
Yeah, for sure. That it kind of starts controlling your mind, So I would say those 2 things, and then listen to what your parents say, dude. Like, can't tell you how many times my dad used to tell me stuff. I'm like, nah, you don't know nothing. And then, it kind of comes out and it's like, man, he was right. He was right. But that's I guess that's what I'd say to my younger self.
Yeah, it's you're right. It's hard to do when you're living in the moment and you're growing up. You're like, shut up, dad. I know better than you. I get that from my son. He's 11 now. He's like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, okay. And I'm the type of parent where I'm like, I'm going to let you fuck up. I'm going to let you hurt yourself and be like, I told you. Oh, you were so right. I won't do that again. I'm like, no, you can do it. You just got to go about it a different way of doing it, right? You got to put thought into it and all that good stuff. You can't just wing it your whole life.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I can't tell you how many times it was like, he'd say something and I'd be like, yeah, right. Yeah. And then it turns out it's like, oh, you're right. I shouldn't have done that. But it's all
Eddie,
part of life.
Dude, it is. And I find myself too often when I get aggravated with my son, because I don't beat my son. I don't put my hands on him. I don't scream. I'll call my mom and be like, I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Dad. You were absolutely right. Absolutely. And my mom always laughs. She's like, well, it's just part of being a dad. It's what you learn as you go through. We'll just try to help you out. But you're hard-headed because you're a Taurus and you don't listen for shit. Right? It's facts. So it's like, okay.
For sure.
I'm sorry. But Netflix series, are you watching anything on Netflix or Amazon Prime or Disney Plus or anything like that?
Not right now. I mean, in the wintertime, I kind of got some time to, hibernate because, man, I'd go to the gym and I'd come home, go and like call my buddy, like, yo, is the shop warm? Like, get the wood going because I'm just like the cold. So I spent some time in the, inside. I like some like real crime stuff, some documentaries. I like learning, if I'm going to take my time to go sit on my ass, I want to learn something. So Right now though, I really haven't been. I just got a new job down working in Chicago, so I'm like back and forth. I'm gonna be like pretty much coming up here on the weekends and working down there in the weekdays and in between all the racing stuff. So I really haven't had any time to sit down in the last. You know how Netflix is; they're always changing the stuff, so I don't even know what's on there right now. But no, not right now, not as of right now. But I did. I mean, a documentary I watched a bunch was The Last Dance.
Dude,
Michael Jordan, man, like. I'm not a
absolutely.
big ball sports guy anymore. I played in high school and I did some wrestling but just his mindset like is so fascinating to me. So like I watched that a few times. I'm like, this guy is a killer. You know what I mean? Like he used to make up scenarios in his head to drive himself in practice and all these different like little things, of like how to become great and like that true greatness. And it's kind of like that book of mastery I was talking about. It's like I'm interested in these great people that push themselves to like what was their mindset? How did they get there? How did they do this? Because it's maybe there's a sheer a little bit of alien in them, but there's also a lot of just self-drive and it's the way you think, so man, The Last Dance, I couldn't recommend it. Like even if you don't like basketball, because I'm not a basketball fan, just to see how that team operated and to see how he thought during that time of everything they achieved was just, it's amazing.
It is, and how he pushed his teammates too to be the greatest that they could be, right? He
Exactly.
elevated their game too as well. Kylie, Kylie says he's too big of a pickle to watch TV. It's hilarious, dude. That's
Oh,
hilarious.
shit. She's always talking shit.
Dude, she's awesome. Absolute awesome. I need to get her on. Kylie, hit me up.
Yeah,
I've already reached out to her. She told me she would, but I ain't heard nothing back.
She's probably mad at you because you're pronouncing her name wrong.
Dude, listen, I'm bad
It's
at
Kaylee.
that. Okay, it's Kaylee. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Okay, I'm bad at
It's all good.
names. It is.
Yeah,
It is.
Kaylee actually helped me out a bunch during the 200. Like
Nice.
she helped me. I'm like when I'm at the racetrack, man, I forget to eat because I'm so focused on everything. It's like I don't even eat. So she's forcing me to eat all weekend, and probably help me with not burning out as soon on the bike. But
She said all good. Thank you, Kaylee. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not good at
it's all good.
names.
Yeah,
dude.
well, you got to try to say your last name. That's even a better one,
Bro. All right. I would say Bayak.
It's bike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kaylee
Yeah.
Bike. Kylie Bike. Okay, I got you. Cool, man. Cool. So listen, I'm Apple TV, dude. Masters of the Air. I recommend it to everybody. It's such an amazing show. So good. Even my son, 11, he's like, dude, when's the next episode coming out? So yeah, we binge watched that, and then we were on of course, I love anything Disney, Pixar, all those cartoons. We're watching The Bad Batch, which is like a Star Wars thing. And it's
okay. Yeah, you got to send me some of that stuff, man. I mean, the book list and a few.
Oh, I got you. 100%. I got you. I do. So let me ask you this: PlayStation or Xbox?
I'd say Xbox, honestly. I mean, I haven't owned a game system since the original Xbox. The big black one.
I do.
So I mean, that was right around. I got on bikes and I quit playing like video games. Like I got on my street bike and that's all I really did. And I mean, I play here and there, but it's like one of those things like you don't do it, you're really bad at it. So whenever I pick up a controller with anybody, I get my ass kicked constantly, no matter what it is. I'm like, man, I'm so terrible at this now. So I just haven't really got back into it. But I would say Xbox, the old Halo 2 is like my go-to. I used to be a killer on that back in the day, but nowadays, man, I like go play Call of Duty. I take 2 steps, I get killed. I'm like, dude, this isn't even fun.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Dude, so I'd love to get more opportunities to play PlayStation. I just don't have a whole lot of time, but I do love when I do have time to sit down and be like, you know what? Because everybody needs my me time. Everybody out there, you need your own time, right? And it's up to you how you want to spend it. You can go clean your garage, change your oil, whatever it is you want to do. But I do enjoy sitting down. I do firing up the PlayStation, playing like co-op games with a couple of my buddies or Ride 5. Racing.
Oh yeah, that game does look pretty legit. I almost thought about buying a system just to buy that one game.
Dude, listen, absolutely an amazing. It's like Gran Turismo for motorcycles. You start out in a low class, you buy the bike, dude. You can put aftermarket rims, brakes, exhaust, motor work, dude. It's absolutely an
Yo, you're
amazing.
talking me into it. You need to
Dude,
stop.
I'm telling you, bro, dude, Eddie, I'm telling you, it is absolutely fab. And it's cool. It's co-op, so you could get it, and even on the Xbox, it's cross-platform. I got a PS5. We could race each other, dude. It's absolutely amazing.
Oh, yeah, that
Dude,
sounds fun.
listen,
See,
they have old
I'm
school bikes,
all in or nothing though. You know what I
dude. I'm
mean? I get
telling
on
you,
that thing and I'm gonna get addicted. I'll be like, wait to work on the bike another day, you know? Like, nah, I know myself. So I gotta kind of like pick and choose, you know?
I do. But man, listen, you can ride a RC45, a RC30, RC50. They have all those bikes, the R7s, the old KZs. It's absolutely two strokes. It's
Oh
bro,
man.
I'm telling you, it's absolutely amazing game. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. So let me ask you this, dude. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Not just on the track, but a whole life question. Where does Eddie visualize or your goal for 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I mean, I'd like to invest in some more tooling, and I really like like fabricating. You know, I want to start doing some more fab stuff, and I really want to start my own training camp. Um, Something I've been thinking about for a long time, and not that I'm the end all be all with all the knowledge, but just to have facilitate, you know, an off season. So some of these guys, you know, I want to build a few little cabins, and so you know, some of the homies can come out, hang out for a month, have a gym on site, you know, maybe a mountain bike trail and a few tracks, and make it so that you know you can come and hang out and be amongst the riders. You know, like the more you're surrounded by like-minded people, the faster you're going to get. You're going to help each other, you know, push each other, whether it's on the gym, eating correctly, riding bicycles, riding, you know, dirt bikes, whatever it is. So, I would like to kind of, you know, not even that I want to make a whole lot of money out of it. I just want to facilitate an area where, you know, because how much the little bike has helped like our crew of guys become up and become faster and riding the TTRs and all that stuff. You know, I want to make that available to everybody, you know, and jumping on the flat track bike and just being able to let them get on one and go rip it. You know, it's like some guys are like, it's just going in a circle, you know, like, it's not that cool. But like the first time you do it, you're going to be like, dude, that was so much fun, you know? So that's where I'd see in 5 years, I'd like to really have, you know, a chunk of land and be able to legit run like a training camp, you know, just to facilitate it for, you know, all the guys, you know, especially traveling, you know, if let's say you're traveling from East Coast to West Coast or, you know, North to South or whatever, you had to wait, you know, there's 2 weeks between Moto America rounds, like, hey, pull in, hook your camper up. We can go ride every day. We got a gym on site, you know, like that's my dream. That's my goal, really.
Dude, absolutely amazing goal. And yeah, let's make it happen. And yeah, I'll be out there for sure, grooming the track, riding the track. I'll be getting my ass beat, but you know what? I don't care. I'm there for a good time. We're not here
Yeah,
for a
you'll get
long time.
faster though.
Yeah, I know, but we're here for a good time, right? And then she says, and a puppy dog. I cannot 100% agree. And dude, I love dogs. I usually bring Cruz in here and Charlie. So I got two pit bulls. One's a purebred. Her name is Charlie, and she's old. She's yeah, she's getting there. But she is absolutely an amazing dog. And then we got what we call the Cruz. He is a pit bull Tennessee Walker Hound mix, and he's like 100 pounds of just pure talkiveness. He likes to talk all the time. He is an attention whore, and when you're sitting down or you're standing up, he either sits on your feet or lays on your feet, and he begs for attention all the time. So you could
Oh
constantly
yeah.
gotta touch
A
him
little, a
100%.
little love slut there.
Oh, dude. Yeah, he's awesome, man. He's absolutely, listen, he's the perfect guard dog, 100% in the world. Because it's like Groundhog Day with him. You put him out in the backyard, man, you pull in the driveway, dude, he's going to, seriously, he wants to eat your ass. But you come inside the house and let him smell you. Oh, he's your best friend. Little red rocket. I always tell him, put your red rocket away, man. Because it's like, seriously, when people come over, man, he sits down, he looks at you all googly eyed, red rocket comes out. I'm like, Cruz, dude, come on, man. Right. And then, but it's funny thing is, dude, Eddie, as soon as you go back outside and let him in the backyard, it's like Groundhog. He just wants to eat you again. it's actually kind of funny.
That's good though. Like, he's definitely doing his job of scaring people away. So
absolutely it is. Absolutely. But listen, dude, we're over 2 hours on this, man. This has almost been one of my longest podcasts I've done. This is awesome.
Really? I
man,
warned you. I warned you, dude.
Nah, dude, listen, I'm a talker too. I mean, I feel like we could sit on here for at least another 2 hours, but
no doubt. I mean, I feel like there's so much we haven't even went through yet, I haven't got to ask you any questions.
That dude, fire away, man, for sure. But listen, we'll definitely do a part 2, part 3. You guys stay tuned. But before we get off here, Eddie, I need you to stay with me when I end this. But I need you to go ahead and give all your shouts out. Tell everybody how they can follow you on social media. Do you have any merch for sale? Tell people how they can get in touch with you if you have any, just to support you and help you out.
Yeah. I mean, you can find me on Instagram under EddieK688. Go give it a like and follow. Merch is coming soon. I got some shirts, just got logo printed and everything. So, that's coming. We're going to do hats and shirts and whatnot. I'll definitely be sending you one, Chris. I just want to give a shout out to everybody with the KSR team that came out to Daytona with, Cody, Kyle, John, Tom, Weston, Will, and Bill, and of course, Kaylee and John. You're a lifesaver. You helped me so much. I can't thank you enough. And of course, my sponsors, Ready to Ride. Huge shout out to Ryan. Without him, this would, he's the one who got me addicted. So, I got Hometown Orthodontics, KSR, RJ Power Sports, Lejeune Motorsports. Thanks to everyone for making this possible. And of course, Kawasaki with helping us out. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to the season. You can find me on Facebook and under Eddie K. And I mean, we're not 100% sure what we're going to be doing. I know I'm going to be doing some twin stuff if we can make the super sport happen, Also check out my website, Eddie K with just the letter K.com or 688.com. You can go check it out. You can find some merch on there and also how to help out with the cause if you are willing to.
Dude, absolutely amazing. And before I get off here, I got to give my quick shout outs too. Big shout out to my man Jake Marsh and Peter Marsh, R&D Racing out there in BSB in the GP2 class. They're really good mates of mine. He has a club 45. He has some slots left, so get off here and go out there and join the club and help him out. He's a proper mega and so fast, up and coming racer, and him and his dad are absolutely amazing. Big shout out to my man Martin at the Clothing King. Go to theclothingking.co.uk and get all your Pin to Gas merch. Yes, it's in the UK. That's where they make my clothes, but they're absolutely amazing people. We have hats, t-shirts, beanies, dude, all body warmers, the whole nine. Listen, big shout out to my good friend Jillian Carrere in the British Talent Cup. He has a club too, Club 40. Go join his. Absolutely amazing. His dad, Michael Carrere, I'm sure most of you guys know who he is. He runs the SFL Mini GP out there in South Florida. So if you guys are down there, down south, and want to throw a leg over a bike and learn, how to race, trust me, best people in the world to get in contact with. And one last thing, man, I really appreciate it. And I say it all the time. Thank you guys so much that, supports me in the podcast. It's this journey's been absolutely amazing. If you guys would have told me 2 years ago I'd be doing this, I'd have been like, bullshit, right? But here we are, and all the love and support, man, it just means so much to me. It absolutely amazing. All you guys are proper mega, and I can't thank you enough, for real. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you guys like the wig I wore today, right? Yeah, something
buddy.
new.
Yeah,
so when Eddie comes back on, Eddie's gonna have a wig too, and I'm gonna change it up. So
yes, sir.
It's gonna be proper. So listen, Kylie, did I say it right?
No, Kaylee.
Oh man, see, I don't
it's
know
all
why
good.
it's so hard. Yeah.
She gets a lot, so
yeah, but sorry I messed your name up, and thank you again for watching, and everybody that watches. I appreciate it. This episode will be out on iHeart, Spotify, all that good stuff tomorrow. But listen, I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much, dude.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Eddie? Dude, listen, it was my honor, bro. Absolutely my honor.
Let me